send a full artificial intelligence would spell the end of the human race.
It's a flying object and we don't know what it is. I would hope somebody's checking it out.
With the rockets or whatever, but incredibly fast, opposite direction. They were too fast to be an airplane.
I'm glad the Pentagon is looking at this, because if it poses a threat, I want them on top of it.
Well, the craft generates its own gravitational field.
You said there's lights in the sky?
The internet has become the command center for criminals and terrorists.
911, what's your emergency? I need help, please help me!
Aliens won't let it happen. You know, that's what we're instructed to say.
Roswell, Area 51. Alien kept deep under the ground.
1, 0,
self-serving. You're here for a reason. You're listening to Troubled Minds Radio.
Broadcasting live from a secret bunker just off the extraterrestrial highway. Somewhere in the desert sands outside of Las Vegas. From somewhere in space-time, loosely labeled Generation X on planet Earth. And asking questions of you in earnest into the digital darkness. Good evening and welcome to Troubled Minds Radio. I'm your host, Michael Strange. And hello to all of you who might also have troubled minds. What's up, guys? It is Tuesday night, and that means it is show night. So many shows, so much content. We're flooding the internet. They'll never be able to stop us. I called the other show. If you guys have been listening, thanks for showing up and hanging out at the other show, guys. I appreciate it a lot. That's the coffee show. This is the beer show. So, cheers to everybody. Hope everybody's in a warm place, staying safe, and all the rest of that. But this show is about aliens, conspiracy, the paranormal. This show is about all the things we're not supposed to talk about. We talk about the government. We talk about academia. We talk about major corporations. We talk about how the world we live in is upside down. Straight up 180%, 360 degree upside down and teetering on the edge. That's what we talk about here. It's still legal. As long as it's legal, as long as it's going to be legal, we're going to be talking about these things. Like I say, and this is important, in many places in the world, doing a show like this, even though one might argue, and people have, that what we do here and the things we talk about are a bunch of BS, bunch of hogwash, bunch of bullshit. But no. The fact of the matter is, we reserve the right to be wrong, don't we? I always say that, and I'm going to always continue to say that. And that's part of one, being a human being. It's a fundamental part, because you can't be right if you weren't first wrong at some point. Am I right? You see what I did there? Anyway, so the way this works is we're streaming on, let's see, hold on. Let's see. Let's back up. All right. This show is live, so we do this live. Transparency is important. I've been saying this a lot. If you want to be part of the show at any point tonight, you can call this phone number, 702-957-1037. You can join the Discord and be on the show that way. And both the phone number and the Discord are at troubledminds.org. That's the official website. So I'll get to, as I drink a couple beers, I'll be a little more sloppy reading that, but that's why I have it all in one place. So you just go troubledminds.org. You can find the phone number, the Discord link, everything's there. So sometimes I just get frustrated and go blah, 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 instead of reading the number. Well, for those of you that like me to make the sounds out there, the funny sounds. But anyway, all right. So this is live. Like I said, it's always been one of those dreams, right? To do the live radio show and then have smart people call in and contribute, and it's happened. It's happened. So step one is achieved. You guys are here, and I appreciate all of the great feedback, all of the great participation, all the great chat. We're reading chat. All that stuff. So all the great calls. Thank you again, everybody who's been calling into the other show as well. It makes this a ton easier. And to be perfectly frank, I don't care about easy. I care more about fun. I care more about being interactive and meeting you guys and being able to hang out in a place where it's a little bit judgment free. You're non-denominational. You can believe what you want to believe, and it's all fine. Nobody's going to try and out you and cancel culture this or the other thing. We ain't doing that. We don't do that here. You can even give me a fake name. It's all good. It is all good. That's what we do here. That's what we do here. All right. So with all that said, this is live. If you want to be part of the show, 702-957-1037. Click the Discord link, troubledminds.org. And tonight, all right, actually, let me explain. So we're not quite there yet. We are going to talk about one of the staples of this show, which really we don't talk about often enough. But we're gonna do that tonight. When people that know me IRL, they know I do this show, and then they roll their eyes at me and go, "What are you gonna do, Mike? Are you gonna be telling ghost stories on the internet?" That's what they tell me. Most nights, no, but tonight, yes. Tonight, yes. We are talking about poltergeists and poltergeist activity. So what that means, some spooky stories you may not have heard, some of the most famous poltergeist types of activities and legends and specific stories, and then what all of that might mean. So that's what's up. But before we do that, we are going to get to shout outs. So and pro tip, I know everybody gets so mad. Everybody gets so mad. Pro tip, if you're listening to this on an archive, you can just skip to about 15, 18 minutes in, and you'll skip all this intro business. All of it, right? We have that technology now. You just skip all of it, and you can get straight to the poltergeists, all right? Just to let you know. Pro tip, fast forward is a thing in this day and age. Just letting you know. But what we're going to do is we're streaming on Twitch. Sorry, actually, we're not. We're streaming on... we're down to 2. So Periscope is going away. So we're streaming on Facebook and YouTube for sure, and we're streaming on DLive. And I think Periscope is taking a shit, right? I think they're shutting down Periscope. I'm looking at the chat right now, and typically it'll tell me what's live on the restream here, but I don't see a Periscope chat. So I think actually we may not be streaming on Periscope. I don't know. Can anybody confirm or deny that? That's the Twitter connection, the Twitter live stream thing. So I don't know. I have no idea. I don't keep Twitter up during the show because one, is distracting, and two, Twitter kind of pisses me off. But okay. All that aside, we are going to do shout outs. So if you guys want a shout out, just type in the chat where you're listening from, and I will give you a quick shout out, and then we'll get to poltergeists tonight. Poltergeists, ghosts, and those types of things. And again, as we do this, I'd love to hear your stories. I'm sure the reason why you're here is you listen to some of this stuff, and you know and understand that we clearly don't know all the things there are to know in the universe. And a good ghost story is, one, interesting to hear, and two, maybe will parallel something that happened to you in your life. And again, that's part of why the reason you're here, right? Like you've seen some things. If you're listening to this show, if you're here at the live stream, I'm pretty sure you've seen some things, and that's why you're here. It's part of the community, part of the questions, and part of why we do it live. So anyway, let's get going, and let's so much chat. Keep the chat coming, guys. I appreciate that. So we will read the chat as we go. So if you have pertinent comments, I'm not going to read everybody's little bickering back and forth. So please don't do that, which doesn't happen a lot here. So that's good. But I will read pertinent chat to the conversation. So go ahead and drop some chat in there, and we'll read them as we go. And let's go. Let's start on. Actually, we're just going to start with Penny. We're going to start with Penny Bunny. What's up, Penny? Penny from the UK. Bunny Girl 80 on Discord. Penny, the Curious Bunny on YouTube. Got first twice. Got first on Discord and then first on YouTube. Double firsts. There it is. First twice. What's up, Penny from the UK? I see you're not feeling well or something. I hope you hope things get better quickly for you. Thank you again for always being here on time and enthusiastic. The head of the cheerleading squad, I appreciate it so much. Like I said, it makes it a lot easier when you guys are also happy to be here as well. So thank you so much. That's Penny from the UK. Follow the Curious Bunny on YouTube, guys, and also Penny Bunny as well. We got Eli with a close second. What's up, Eli? Eli's been very consistent as well. Eli's been hanging out with us at the other show and this show. Always first in the YouTube here, first or second. Thank you very much, Eli. I appreciate it. What else do we got? We got who else? More synthesizers, less rock. Okay, got it. Copy that. All right, let's see. Let's scroll down. We got scrolling. Axel, what's up? There's Axel. Axel has also been very consistent, hanging out with us at the other show as well. Thank you. GameBet02 on the road. Hi, I'll hitting the air horn for you. Thank you. That's our truck driver friend. He's out there on the road. Stay safe, buddy. Thanks for listening. Thanks for joining us live. Bailey, what's up? Why don't you smash it? What's up, Bailey? How you doing? Thanks for showing up. We got, who else do we got? There's more. There's always more. There's always more. Who am I missing? Recluse. What's up? Hey, Bailey. Thanks for showing up too. Recluse. I don't know. How do you say that? Let's see. What else do we got? Who else? Jacob. Thanks for being here. Hey, Mike. Good vibes. Yes to you as well. Thanks for being here tonight. We will get to Facebook in just a little bit. Hang tight. And let's see. Who else do we got? Axel says no Periscope link in Twitter. Okay, thank you for checking that. Yeah, I think so. I know soon in the next month or two they're actually taking Periscope down entirely. So we started on so many platforms and it's just trimmed down. That's how they're going to defeat us, guys. They're going to just take away all the platforms to stream on. There'll be nowhere to go. I'll be out dancing on the corner in Vegas, shouting with a bullhorn. Anybody want to hear a ghost story? Lizzie, what's up? Lizzie, thank you. It's been very consistent showing up to the other show as well. Thank you. Okay, let's see. What else do we got? Eli, Lizzie. Okay, we're good. All right, we're going over to YouTube. What's up, guys? Joey, how you doing? Joey gets first. Thanks for showing up. We got Paul checking in from Iowa. How is everyone doing? Doing fantastic. Armando tagging his buddy John. Thank you. Diane, hello. Thanks for being here tonight. We got William from Singapore. We got Joey. What's on the agenda? Poltergeists, man. Ghosts. Good old-fashioned ghost story, right? Elizabeth, how you doing? Thanks for being here. We got Juan, says, hunkering down with COVID, listening from Dallas. Get better soon, my friend. Derek, hello from Saskatchewan. Those are Canadian friends. We got some Canadian stories tonight, actually. So a couple of them even. So hang tight. Maybe we'll have some stories that you're familiar with up there in Canada. Keegan, hey everyone. Thanks for being here. Hello. We got, let's see, Joey George listening from Hoquiam, Washington. Hoquiam. Don't know how to say it, but you're in Washington. Thanks for being here, George. Tony says, hey gang, it's been a while. Thanks, Tony, for being here. I've been here. So is this man-made bubble that's going around the earth? You guys have any info on that? I don't know. I do not know anything about that. If you want to talk about that, call in and talk about it. I'd love to hear about it. Let's see. Elizabeth, always love this BS. Yes. Which BS? Mateo, oi. How you doing, buddy? Oi. Sean says, what's up, Sean? Says, this world is too crazy. America's now even more in the Twilight Zone in 2021. I'm just waiting for the aliens to come get us now. Yeah, brother. Is it happening? Love it. Wake me up when they get here. Joey, my immediate sensations are incapable of analysts. I cannot confirm or deny the possibility of other realm entities. All right. Well, I'm here looking to hear your stories tonight. So if you have ghost stories, if you know poltergeist activity anywhere in your neck of the woods, I want to hear all about it. Greetings, fellow Earthlings, from Christopher. Ted from New Mexico. Thanks for being here. Keegan says, so do we just say our experiences? Yeah. Dude, call in. Call in, and you could tell us your ghost stories, man. I'm going to tell some ghost stories, too. I've got some in case nobody calls. You always got to have some backup in case nobody calls. But, yeah, just call on in. Let us know. Larry, what's up? Thanks for showing up. Good evening, Minds. How are you? Ash says, I got a ghost story. Let's hear it. What's up, Ash? Thanks for being here tonight, my man. You know what to do. If you got a ghost story, jump in the Discord. You know what to do, my man. Okay, so let's see. Who else we got? Who else am I missing? Let's see. GameVet02 says, I have ghost activity. See? This shit's happening out there, guys. I'm not kidding. This is a thing. All right, let's go. So now that you've, if you're listening on an archive and you fast forward to the pertinent thing, let's talk about ghosts, shall we? Let's do it. All right, so doing the normal thing. You got to go check out the normie sources for what's happening with some of this stuff, because they're going to shoot it down, of course, like they always do. They're going to shit on it, and they're going to say, well, that's pseudoscience, and because that's pseudoscience, that means it doesn't exist because we haven't properly labeled and categorized and quantified it. So as a result of that, it just doesn't exist. Which, of course, let's go to Merriam-Webster, the dictionary since 1828, and look at the word poltergeist. Poltergeist is a noun. Poltergeist means this. This is definition. A noisy, usually mischievous ghost held to be responsible for unexplained noises, such as rappings, it adds. Like rapping on your chamber door. Kind of like that, right? But different. Okay, so there we go. There's the basic. We're going to roll with the basic definition, straight from the Merriam-Webster. And then let's go to the Ministry of Truth, of course, which is Wikipedia, and see what they have to say about poltergeists. And yes, let's see. Also, rappings are also beatbox. Whatever you want to do, Bailey. Whatever you want to do, it's all up to you. I think that's a good point. Do poltergeist beatbox? If we want to hear from you guys, if anybody has had poltergeist beatbox action, I'd love to hear all about it. From the Ministry of Truth, Wikipedia, it says this. In ghost lore, a poltergeist, German for noisy ghost or noisy spirit, is a type of ghost or spirit that is responsible for physical disturbances, such as loud noises and objects being moved or destroyed. Most claims about or fictional descriptions of poltergeists show them as capable of pinching, biting, hitting, and tripping people. Nope, sorry, Bailey, no beatboxing. They are also depicted as capable of the movement or levitation of objects such as furniture and cutlery, or noises such as knocking on doors. They have traditionally been described as troublesome spirits who haunt a particular person instead of a specific location. Some variation of poltergeist folklore is found in many different cultures. Early claims of spirits that supposedly harass and torment their victims date back to the 1st century, but references to poltergeist became more common in the early 17th century. All right, so that's a hell of a start. That's as good as any, right? So I'm going to link these, even though this is knucklehead stuff, but here we go. I'm going to link these things, and you guys can check it out and follow up on me to make sure I'm not making these things up, creating phony links on the internet, because that's possible nowadays. That's totally possible. I can edit these pages and tell you it's real and it's not, even though it doesn't really matter much, does it? I mean, we're getting fake news on the constant anyway. So what's the difference? What difference does it really make? Okay, so with that said, let's start there. Let's start with so poltergeists, as many people know them, are that mischievous spirit. Okay, so like we've talked about in the past about we talked about the night marchers of Hawaii, and so they have these this ghost procession going on, whether it's maybe a haunted thing or what's happening, or the spirits of Gettysburg, where in some cases, like for instance, the spirits of Gettysburg wouldn't really be poltergeist activity by definition, because they aren't actually interacting with the world around them. They seem to be reliving some sort of like a slice in time from their past life, right? And they seem to be stuck in that purgatory or the ether. And so that's what you'd call like a typical ghost, right? But the poltergeists, they're the scary ones, supposedly. These are the ones that bite and pinch. These are the ones that try and push you down the stairs. These are the ones that can throw a knife at you. These are those ones. These are the scary ones. Let's say mischievous is probably the wrong word. These might be the dangerous ones, right? These might be the dangerous ones. Okay, let's read some more chat here. People showing up. Thanks for being here. Keegan says, what's the Discord? Discord is, go to troubledminds.org, my friend. Troubledminds.org, Discord link right on top. You can't miss it. Kevin, I've seen a UFO. Richmond, Virginia. What's up? Thanks for being here. They try to lie all the time. Yeah, they do. They do. Ronald says, I live in a 101-year-old farmhouse in southern Middle Tennessee. It's definitely haunted. Then we'd love to hear from you. Can you tell us some ghost stories? Do you have a poltergeist, or is it like a kind of like that Gettysburg situation where you just see things that kind of maybe are spirits reliving slices of their life? You tell me. I'd love to hear from you, man. Putting up the phone number. This is, again, we do this to include you. So long form, we're in this for the long haul, guys. We're going to be here till 11 p.m. Pacific, and that's, what is that? It's like 2 a.m. This is like ghost to ghost, right? It's like their ghost to ghost thing. We're going to be doing this late, so no hurry here. If you want to eventually call in and tell us the ghost story, I'd love to hear about it. Let's see. Thank you, Penny, for linking the Discord. I've actually let's see. Can I get the link? No, I can't because if I click it, it's going to make me join, and I've already joined, and then the internet might break. So who knows what will actually happen? I'm not going to tempt the fates, especially tonight, talking about ghosts and poltergeists. Tony says, "What is the number I will call in? I have a few minutes and have to go back to work." 702-957-1037. That is the number, my friend. I'll type it in the chat. Give us a call, and then we'll get to. Oops, what the hell just happened? Uh-oh. Did I break something? Uh-oh. It feels like something broke. No. Okay, here we go. Here's the phone number. Light shot just turned on. 702-957-1037. There's the phone number right there. All right. So if you got a ghost story, I'd love to hear you. And there you go. Let's see. It's the correct link. Thank you. I don't doubt that, Penny. I just don't want to click it myself and break the internet because you know how it goes. All right. So we got a phone call coming in. We're going to take this in just a sec here. But we're talking about poltergeist tonight. We're talking about ghosts. And like I said, you're probably here because you've seen something like this. And the interesting part about this to me is early on when we talked about ghosts with Frank on the show, we didn't have a lot of people calling. But now you guys are very active. Very now you know I'm not going to just try and hang up on you and say you're wrong and make a spectacle of this. And it helps that more people are listening. You guys call in, so it's going to be fascinating to me tonight to hear some of the stories you guys have to tell. So if you have ghost stories, we're taking those. 702-957-1037. Click the Discord link. TroubledMinds.org is the official website. You can find both the Discord and the phone number at the website, TroubledMinds.org. All right, let's go to the phone call. What's up? You're on Trouble Minds with Mike. What is your first name? Where are you calling from?
My name is Tony, and I'm calling from New Jersey.
Tony from New Jersey. What's up, my man? What is on your mind tonight? Tell me you got some ghost stories for us.
Yes, I do. I do have a ghost story.
Fantastic. I
was in a house. I don't live there right now, but when I was living in this house, it's about 200 years old, and this house goes back to the Civil War time. And my brother had this apartment, and then when he moved out, I moved in. And he would tell me, be careful because he says to me, at nighttime you will feel something grabbing your feet. I'm like, yeah, right. Yeah, right. I was just trying to pull my leg or have fun with me. The very first night that I moved into that his apartment, I was sleeping, and then I felt like there was something on top of me. I couldn't move or anything, no matter what I did. I just felt like there was something holding me down. So I was in this trance, and I'm just trying to fight it. And finally, I was able to, get up. But the most scariest moment of being in that apartment, I don't sleep much. I sleep maybe 2 hours a night, 3 hours a night at the most. So I was a little tired, and it started off with a dream. And I'm in the house, and I'm laying in bed, and then somehow I was at my my cousin's job, and it started off in this place that was very old. So and I'm talking to I'm talking to him, and my cousin's he's saying, hey, he said, whatever you do, don't. He said, don't go to sleep. That's what he kept. He repeated that to me 3 or 4 times. Now, I'm conscious in my sleep. And I'm saying, well, the joke's on you. I'm already sleeping. So, I'm helping him out and whatever. So then he says, he goes to, he grabs his shower at the job, and I'm waiting. So I go down this hallway. When I go down this hallway, I'm looking at these really old pictures of people. And then, for the corner of my eye, I seen some old man walk through the wall, and it made me jump. Now I run to where my uncle is, my cousin, and I'm saying, hey, there's an old man just walked through the wall. He says, well, yeah, right. I said, I'm not kidding you. But anyway, so I go to his house, and now, it's him, one of his best friends. They say, hey, we're going to go to the bar. And I said, no, I don't want to go. Now, all of a sudden, I said, okay, I'll go. So I'm in my car, and I'm waiting for them to come out. So I come out of the driveway, I make a left, but they make a right. So I turn around, and I go behind them. Next thing I know, the same old man that I've seen walking through the wall, runs in the car. Now, it made me jump out of my sleep. Now, I'm wide awake, sitting at the edge of the bed. So, I go to lay back down, and I had, because this is summertime, and I have the air conditioner fully blasted, and I'm laying there. And then I turned over. Now, I'm wide awake. When I looked to the right of the bed, there was somebody sitting at the edge of my bed with really, really, really old clothes. And I looked at it, and the person looked at me. It didn't have no face. It was it was just weird. I'm awake. I jump up, and I'm like, holy, So then I'm sitting there, and I'm looking at this man, and the next thing I know, this white man turns to a black mist, and it just pretty much floats in the air. Now in the basement, and which I never knew, the landlord had put in a washer and dryer. And every time that you go into that basement, there's an eerie feeling when you go into that basement. Now in that same basement, towards the very back, because the basement is really, it's big. And there's a place where they used to keep slaves, and it's still there. And even on the walls, you see fingernail scratches. You see all kinds of things to where they used to keep slaves in these pens. And there's pens, I would say maybe to hold 30 or 40 people. And it's still there today in the basement.
That's creepy.
But that's it. Yeah, creepy. It's weird.
That's weird.
I just couldn't.
So clearly there's some sort of a residual spirit happening there. Would you classify that as a poltergeist, or do you think it's something different there, like a just regular standard ghost? You did say you got grabbed.
I would imagine, I'm no expert or anything like that, but I would say, I would imagine there's entities there that needs to be released or something. I talked to a friend of mine. She's a medium. I wanted to burn sage. And she told me that may not work. That couldn't invite other things. So the only thing she would tell me is when you're in your apartment, because I would hear after all these things would happen, in the attic, all night long, you would hear people walking in the attic, very, very heavy. Every night, ever since I had these experiences there, it's you would hear a lot of somebody walking and stuff like that. And like I said, this place is over 200 years old. Slaves and God only knows what happened.
Yeah, all kinds of terrifying things.
House,
Yeah, totally. Nice. Yeah, I've never had anything quite like that, man. Sounds like you've. So, is that something that has followed you, or was it just kind of stuck in one particular place there?
Oh no, it hasn't followed me right now. No, I'm happy for that. But I know that I used to buy it before. They used to sell a magazine in New Jersey called Weird New Jersey, and they have all kinds of ghost stories, entities, sacrifices, very things that people don't know about New Jersey. But if you guys, those magazines are pretty cheap. You might be able to pick some up on the internet, and it's very fascinating, to read these stories that are in these books.
Yeah, for sure. Especially in old publications like that, they seem to disappear. They stop making them, and they just kind of you can't ever find those great stories again. Yeah, pretty awesome.
If you guys haven't, if you guys can send me your email, or if you guys have an email, I can actually mail you some of those magazines, because I have a few that I can send you.
Yeah, totally. Try troubledmindsradio@gmail.com. Simple as that.
Oh, okay. Alrighty, I'll do that.
Okay, I appreciate that a lot.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Okay.
Thanks for the call. Right. That's Tony from New Jersey. Thank you for the great stories. Thanks for the call. Simple as that, guys. We're taking ghost stories tonight. We're actually telling ghost stories on the internet. Just like when everybody else zigs, we zag. We're doing more of that tonight. So everybody's talking about the Georgia election. Guess what? I don't give a shit. I don't care. I don't care. I'm, if I got to hope for something, I'm hoping for some gridlock. So you can call me a Republican tonight, just so they don't do anything stupid, right? If you gridlock it up, nothing gets done. I'm a happy dude. But yeah, that's it. That's the political commentary for the evening, because I don't give a shit. I don't care. And probably you don't either. You'd be watching CNN or whatever else right now. So that's the deal. We're doing ghost stories tonight. We're talking about poltergeists. I have got some stories that might scare your pants off, right? And I don't mean that in a dirty way. I just mean, like that's scare the wits out of you. How about that? Sounds less weird. But okay, so we're going to get to some of those stories as we go, but we're also taking your phone calls. That was Tony from New Jersey. Thank you for the call. If anybody else has ghost stories, we're taking them all night. If you have comments on this, if you have theories on what this stuff might be, some of the ghostly phenomenon that happens, if you think it's related to aliens or any of this stuff, taking all your theories. It doesn't even matter. It's all good. Remember, there's no experts in this. There's no such thing as an expert in the paranormal. There's not. Until you can bring an alien or a ghost and, kind of whistle out the side of the truck and one of them rolls up and you can introduce it. Nope, not happening. You're not an expert. So we're just here kind of fumbling through it like everybody else. And that's what we're doing. So if you want to be part of the show and you have a ghost story to tell, love to hear it. 702-957-1037. Click the Discord link, troubledminds.org, and we'll... that's the official website. You've got the phone number and the Discord link, and we'll keep on rolling here. Okay, so with that said, good stuff, good stories. I see that the good chat going on. Let's see. What's up, Sam? How you doing? Thanks for showing up tonight. Yeah, exactly. Larry says, boo, right? And that's what I was waiting for. I'm waiting for somebody to do one of those to tell me a story tonight. And I lean in and I'm listening. I got the headphones on and they're going to go, and then boo! It'll scare me. I'm waiting for it. Sam says, been watching a lot of podcasts lately. What's up from Jacksonville, Florida? What's up? Thanks for being here. Let's see. What else do we got? Paul says, there's an old sanitarium in Colfax, Iowa. That is apartments. I live there as a kid. One Christmas, I woke up. Oh, this is long, nice. One Christmas, I woke up and went to the living room and unwrapped a drum set I had gotten. When this old guy came in the room and helped me put it together, then he went to the kitchen. I started beating the drums. My mom came into the room and asked me how I put it together. When I told her about the man in the kitchen, she freaked out. We went into the kitchen and no one was there. A few nights later, my bedroom filled up with wasps. Now, keep in mind this is wintertime in Iowa. Wasps are hibernating. Over the next few weeks, more crazy shit started happening. We moved. Over the years, many people that have lived there had similar experiences. Strange things happen there to this day. There you go. There you go. What's up, Joe? He says something weird in the neighborhood. Who are you going to call? Troubled Minds Radio. Yes. So we're taking your ghost stories. If you want to type them in like that, I'll read them as well. No problem. If you want to be on the show, 702-957-1037. Okay. So we've got the definition out of the way. Now, here's what some experts say. All right. So they say. Now, keep in mind, all of this is off the internet. So we're taking everything as a ish, right? This show is about the ish. We live in the fringe, all right? So remember, some of these sources may be sketchy, so you'll forgive me if they are. So here we go. This is from hollowhill.com as I preface the possibly sketchy. But here we go. How to. Poltergeists, what are they in famous stories? All right, so let's read some more of this. Now, this is a little more directly aimed at actual poltergeists and not just kind of generic definitions from Wikipedia and the dictionary. So here we go. Poltergeists cause unexplained noises and move objects with unseen hands. At many hauntings, poltergeists throw things violently. On TV, one of the most famous examples was in the Ghost Adventures episode filmed at the Goldfield Hotel. Has anybody seen that, by the way? I'll link this and you guys can check it out if you haven't. The one where I think the thing gets thrown and they freak out and start running and screaming. Yeah, I think totally rigged. but I'll let you decide. Yeah, here we go. Though I can't clearly see enough to claim it's a genuine event, Zach continues to refer to it as one of the scariest moments in the show's history. If he had a reason to suspect it was a hoax, I doubt that he'd keep revisiting this topic. He'd probably hope people forget about it. So I take this seriously. So right off the website here. So We already did the Wikipedia thing, but here's professional opinions. This is why I got this. So this is interesting that we had somebody say a medium, right? Tony, when he calls it a medium. So among paranormal researchers, opinions vary widely. Some insist that a ghost, and only a ghost, causes the activity. Others believe a living person triggers it and is sometimes the target of particularly vicious physical attacks. And some dismiss poltergeists entirely. They point to hoaxes and vibrations from sources such as a passing train or heavy truck. No simple, single answer that applies to all cases. And again, this is from hollowhill.com, and so I'm reading this in the first person, but this is what somebody else wrote, and it continues. In my opinion, people who casually shrug off all poltergeists have never witnessed much poltergeist activity. Yeah, I would think. I would think so. I've seen enough to believe it's real, and sometimes very dangerous. When poltergeist activity is infrequent and not especially dangerous, a bowl of salt seems to reduce or eliminate the problem. Place the salt where most of the activity occurs. Of course, if the activity puts anyone at risk, it's important to get professional help quickly. I refer people to spiritual advisors such as priests and ministers. In extreme cases, consult specialists and potentially demonic activity. They include, he's got some names here. I'm not going to read the names because I'm not going to, you can see him there. You can see him there. Meanwhile, some scientists are aggressively studying psychokinesis, which may explain some poltergeist activity. So we may have better answers soon. So then they have some notes about some poltergeists and some of the sightings and stuff. But I wanted to read this part in particular, the professional opinions. Now, what do you guys think about the ghost, or I'm sorry, the salt? Do you think that there's a way to maybe ward them off with sage or salt or these types of things, or do you think this is old wives' tales? I think there's something to this. I think something that we'll look at as we go and continue talking about this. But all right, we are taking your calls, talking about ghosts tonight and poltergeists and everything that goes bump in the night. 702-957-1037. Click the Discord link at troubledminds.org. I have a feeling we're going to get some calls this evening. Speaking of which, we have another phone call coming in right now, which we're going to take. But you can. We have multiple phone lines. If you guys want to queue up, no problem. We'll take phone calls regarding your ghost stories. And if you want to join the Discord, troubledminds.org, click the Discord link, get in here, and we'll talk about this stuff. What's up, Tourette's? I see you there on YouTube. Thanks for showing up. Let's see. Mateo says, solid episode. Fake or not, gave me the goosebumps. Yeah, I'll link the video, and you guys could check it out yourself. Like something jumped. It was like the brick jumped or something. Yeah. Okay. So we'll take a look. Actually, I don't think I can play it because it'll take us down for copyright. But I'll link it, and you guys can look at it yourself. Okay. Here we go. Let's take this phone call. You're on Trouble Minds with Mike. What's your first name? Where are you calling from?
Hey, Mike. This is Game Vet. How you doing?
I'm great, man. How are you?
Good. Hey, I was wondering what kind of ghost story did you want to hear? I have a funny one and also a kind of creepy one.
You tell me, brother. Whatever suits your fancy, man. I love them all.
All right. Okay, so let me give you a little background on this story. This is the funny story, but it's not that funny, but it is in the end. Okay, so my dad, he passed away from Alzheimer's about 2 years ago. And since he passed, recently my mother has been seeing, she went on a dating website and she's been seeing other guys and stuff like that. Well, my wife and I, we were driving back home after we dropped my daughter off at daycare. And we were talking about, my mom was giving us the goods about this one guy, how kind of a perv he was. And we were talking amongst each other about, how the first day that she met the guy, he brought up that, he was interested in sex. Okay? Now, the radio was shut off in the car. There was nothing on. And all of a sudden, when we started laughing about what he said, the radio turns on, starts playing the Humpty Dance song, just almost at full volume.
Nice. Nice.
And this is no joke. My wife and I were both in the car, and as soon as we said sex and started laughing, the radio flipped on, and all of a sudden it just started playing that song. And that was something my dad would totally do. He was he was always one to have a good time. You know, my dad would always say, no matter what you do, have fun, stuff like that. And it was just interesting that the radio just turned on instantly.
I agree. That sounds like a fun fellow.
Yeah, that's just crazy.
Good stuff, man.
But I do have this other story now. It's kind of creepy.
Yeah, of course. Go ahead.
So the past 3 weeks, what's that? Hey, I'm sorry, I can barely hear you.
No, go ahead. Go right ahead, sir.
Okay. So the past 3 weeks I've been visited by what I can only describe as like a ghost cat. Right? I'll be laying in bed and I'll just lay down, pull the covers up over myself, and all of a sudden I'll feel something jump up onto bed and start kneading the blanket, you know, right at my feet. And then I'll feel like a cat, or maybe I want to say a cat because a dog doesn't really need the blanket like that. And I'll feel weight on my legs or on my hip, like it laid down. Well, it first started about 3 weeks ago, and it was behind my back, and I felt, you know, something crawl up next to me. And then I put my arm behind my back, and I thought it was a cat that we have. Well, we at the time we purchased a kitten, but I know the kitten always lays with my kid. And I went to move my arm back behind my back, and there was nothing there. And then I was on my side, and I kind of laid there for a little bit, and all of a sudden I felt kneading again right behind my back. I put my arm behind my back again, and all of a sudden there's nothing there again. So then I feel a little bit, felt like it got up, turned around, and then laid down again. And I'm like, what the heck is going on? So I turn on the light, turn around, I physically roll over, and there's nothing there. I'm like, well, that's kind of weird. So then I just go to bed, right? Well, last weekend, I was laying in bed again. I just put the covers over myself, and I was laying on my back. All of a sudden, I felt something jump up by my legs again, felt the kneading again, and then I felt like it, whatever it was, laid in between my legs, and I felt the blankets actually being pulled down from the weight, and they were actually moving. So I was trying to hold them, the blanket up, and it was actually moving down. And I lifted my head up, I turned my light on, my camera on, and there was nothing there.
That's creepy, man.
So,
that's creepy.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've had that happen to me. Like not that, like it's the worst when you feel like you got touched by something and then you turn to look and there's nothing there. My goodness, nothing right. Freaks me out more than that. That's insane. I never had anything quite that pronounced where something crawled up in bed with me. Holy shit, man! I would have pissed myself.
Yeah, it's nuts. And then I don't know. You want to hear one more story? This one's pretty crazy.
Yeah, go for it.
This has all been happening within the past couple of weeks. So a few weeks ago, it was the anniversary of my grandmother passing. Okay, it was on the day that she passed, a year after. Everybody went to bed. You know, I put my daughter to bed. My wife went to sleep early, and I got up and I went to use the restroom, shut the door and all that stuff. And when I got done, there was knocking at the door, like 3 knocks, so it was like that, right? And I'm like, who the heck is up? You know, here it was really late at night. So I open up the door, and there was nobody at the door. I'm like, well, that's really strange. So then I walked down the hallway, and my wife and my daughter were laying in bed together. Like, well, who the heck was knocking at the door? So then I walked down the stairs, and now, I mean, our bedrooms are upstairs, so when we went upstairs, I shut off all the lights, everything. When I went downstairs, I turned my head to the left, and here the curio cabinet light was on. It was turned on, and the only way to turn that light on is by touching the hinge on the very top hinge, right by the top of the cabinet. You have to physically touch it with your finger to turn the light on. And that thing was on. And then the only things that are in that curio cabinet are like the little precious people. They're like angels and stuff like that my wife collects. And then where the light shines down, there's this angel, figurine there that was sitting perfectly under the light. And I know for a fact that angel, whatever you call it, the figurine, it wasn't in the middle of the curio cabinet, ever. It's never been there. It's always been off to the side. So, I mean, I think that was a way of, my grandma saying, hey, I'm here, I'll let you know I'm okay or whatever. But I thought that was very interesting. I mean, there was a physical knock at the door, and then that happened.
Yeah, that's pretty crazy. Nothing. I haven't seen anything like that personally, but so you think it's friendly? You think everything is going to be like some sort of friendly action going on here?
Yeah, I don't know. As far as I know there was one time I was downstairs. I was about ready to turn the PS4 on. All of a sudden, there was a voice right next to my ear, and it says, "I hear you." Real deep, dark voice. It just says, "I hear you." And I paused. I basically froze, and I instantly said out loud, "I hear you too," and I didn't hear anything after that.
You scared it off. Wow, that's nuts, man.
Maybe.
It's all, oh shit, it talked back.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know. I'm driving on the road. I see a bunch of weird stuff. I've called in before. I have a bunch of UFO sightings I see a lot and stuff like that, and I try to get everything on camera, but I don't know. I think for some reason this stuff is connected somehow. I don't know how exactly, but it seems like it first started with the ghost stuff and then all of a sudden the UFO stuff. So I don't know. It's crazy, man. It's crazy.
Yeah.
I can't explain it, but
it definitely exists. Yeah, that's definitely real. If you get some of that stuff, please keep sending the videos, man. We'll play them on the show eventually, okay?
Yeah, definitely. I think I sent you two a week ago or something like that. I emailed you a couple of new videos I posted.
Okay, I'll dig them out. I got a lot of stuff in my email, so I'll see what I can get and pull them out, and then we'll see if we can get you on the show in the future here and talk about them.
All right, thanks, Mike. I appreciate it. Love your show. Have a good night, everybody.
Thanks a lot, man. You too. Stay safe out there. God bless. Thanks, man. That's GameVet03. If anybody's in YouTube over there. So reason for all the noise, he's a truck driver. He's out there delivering cold beer for somebody. So, or groceries or something equally good. So God bless the truck drivers. We need them to keep the food coming. Right in this day and age, this is where we're at. And somebody's out there got to be doing it. So thank you for your deliveries and all the things you do, man. Okay, so we're talking about ghosts tonight, guys. So we've had a couple fantastic calls already. I've got some scary stories. Some of the ones you may have heard of, some of the ones you may not have. So we'll get into those in just a sec. But we are taking your phone calls tonight. So this is going to be our version of a ghost to ghost, right? I'm sure we can't really say that because they're going to sue us or something. So we're not really calling it that. It's just kind of like that. You know what I mean? So we're talking poltergeists and. So the last question I asked, do you think salt has any kind of actual effect on these things? Do you think that you can put it out or do the little circles or whatever's going on or sage or any of this stuff? Do you think it actually matters? Or like I said, some sort of old wives' tale? I think that's what we're looking at and why we're talking about these things. And who knows? I don't know. I'm not an expert here. I'm definitely not an expert. So I lean on you guys and let's read some of these comments. Larry says, sage and holy water with blessings. Okay. Joey says the Winchesters use salt all the time, so it must work. All right. Got you there. Let's see. You ever feel your phone vibrate in your pocket and your phone isn't in your pocket? There's a thing. That's a scientific thing, apparently. They've studied that. That's a thing. It's a thing. Elizabeth says, I believe animals have spirits. Oh, that could be, huh? I wonder if there's a wayward animal spirit trying to climb up with him in bed there. Let's see. Elizabeth says, cats too. My guy saw an orb going up our stairs after my Siamese disappeared. Okay, interesting. I've got two pooches who have passed in the past year. 2020 has been a shitty year for me too. And not to mention people too, by the way. I don't want to demean it like that, but from our household, 2 pets, and I haven't seen any. I haven't seen them show back up. So I don't know if I'm obtuse and I miss it, or if hopefully they're in the better place, because all dogs go to heaven, right? I think that's the eternal rule here. So okay, anyway, let's start with the ghost stories. Let's start with one of these. Let's go skip all these definitions and the rest of this. Let's start with the Great Amherst Mystery. You guys heard of this one? Maybe you've heard of this one. So I'm going to play a couple clips here regarding this. Now, I'll just read from the Ministry of Truth, just a smidge to get us started on what's happening here and what's going on with this. But starts here. The Great Amherst Mystery was a notorious case of reported poltergeist activity in the Amherst, Nova Scotia, Canada, between 1878 and 1879. It was the subject of an investigation by Walter Hubble, an actor with an interest in psychic phenomena, who kept what he claimed was a diary of events in the house, later expanded into a popular book. So let's play a little bit and then look into the goings-on of the Great Amherst Mystery. We're talking poltergeist tonight, guys. We're talking ghosts, things that go bump in the night. When people zig, we zag. They're talking the election. We're talking ghosts. So we're looking for stories from you. So 702-957-1037. TroubledMinds.org. Click the Discord link, and let's play some of this Amherst Mystery and see what's going on with this. Part 1, action.
This is the story of Esther Cox and the Amherst, Nova Scotia poltergeist. It is one of the best known and most terrifying ever recorded. It began in 1878 at a small and very crowded home on Princess Street. The residence was home to Esther Cox, then 18 or 19 years old, her married sister Olive, Olive's husband Daniel, as well as Esther's brother and sister Jenny and William. In addition to the family members, others occasionally rented a home at the house. At the time of the poltergeist phenomena, a man named Walter Hubble was a boarder at the home on Princess Street. Hubble recorded the poltergeist activity on a daily basis and would later publish a book called The Great Amherst Mystery, in which he tells the story of the Esther Cox poltergeist in great detail. Shortly before the first poltergeist activity began, Esther Cox was the victim of an attempted sexual assault by a man named Bob McNeil. Fortunately, Esther managed to escape her attacker and suffered only minor physical injuries. The injuries to her mental and emotional well-being, however, seemed to have been far worse, and appeared to unleash months of violent poltergeist activity.
Okay, so this is Esther Cox. She lives in a home with several people. Apparently at the time it was standard to take in kind of just regular boarding, like kind of boarders they called them, to help pay the rent and pay the bills type of thing. And so they lived in these houses just full of people. They described at the beginning there exactly how many people were there, but I think more comes, more people show up, and so as you saw, as they explained there, she almost was sexually assaulted, and she was able to fight off the attacker, and but for some reason it was just the beginning. Things after she was able to fight off this person, it was a person, it wasn't a ghost or anything. She was able to fight the person off, but it somehow kind of woke up something within the house, and other really, really scary, creepy things started happening. So let's play part 2, and then we'll look at some of the links for this. This is the Amherst Mystery in a Poltergeist, part 2. Action.
The first sign that something was wrong happened one evening when screams were heard coming from the bedroom shared by Esther and her sister Jenny. When others entered the room, both sisters said that something was moving under their blankets. Nothing was found, and everyone was soon asleep. The very next night, more screams came from the sisters' room. This time they had heard loud banging sounds under their bed. A box containing sewing scraps was removed and placed on the floor. As all watched, the box suddenly flew across the room, crashing into a wall. The following day, Esther was not feeling well and went to bed early. Her screams were soon heard, and the family ran again to her aid. Esther was found in terrible shape. Her body appeared to be greatly swollen and red. She was very, very hot, and then began shivering as if she were freezing. The group then heard 3 very loud bangs, like the clap of thunder. Esther then collapsed on the bed and went into a deep sleep. A local doctor was called, but he was not able to help. He did, however, return the following days to visit Esther and witnessed much of the poltergeist activity himself.
Okay, so she almost gets sexually assaulted. She's able to fight the guy off, but then after that, terrible things start to happen. Like just very much like Game Vet 03 described. There's things crawling up into the bed with them. Some things they can't see. They can feel them. They see them under the blankets. They're touching them, and they don't know what it is. And things just get worse and worse here. So I got a link here from Live About regarding this, the terrifying Amherst poltergeist. And again, this goes back to 1878. So we're not talking new stuff here. This isn't fabricated for the internet as a creepy pasta, anything like that. But I guess you could make the argument that possibly this individual made it up, right, to maybe sell some books, because the guy, his name is Hubble, Walter Hubble, and he ended up writing a book about this. So if that's the case, then yeah, I guess you can always make that argument. But then you have eyewitness accounts and other people here, pretty crazy stuff. What's up, Tourette's? I see you in the chat there. Thanks for showing up, Marge Sanchez. Sorry for the last name. Marge, what's up? And you going on autopilot and just read what's in front of you sometimes. Okay, so we got Juan here says this, as we finish this up and do more of the Amherst poltergeist. Juan says, I used to ghost back in 2007 and met Aaron and Billy from Ghost Adventures, Grant Wilson from Ghost Hunters, and Adam and Amy Bruni from Kindred Spirits. I've been to the following: Alcatraz, the Whaley House, the Stanley Hotel, Zach Baggins Haunted Museum, the Crescent Hotel, Churchill Pub, and Pirate House in Savannah, Georgia, Victorian Mansion in Portland, Maine, the Myrtle Plantation, Titanic Museum, Silver Gulch, and Fairbanks, Alaska. None of these scared me as much as when I used to investigate graveyards in Gainesville, Texas. Sounds like you got some ghost stories, brother. I think you need to call, man. if you've seen and spent some time out there in the field, in the quote field, looking at haunted places, I think you probably got some stuff that we need to hear. Larry says, sounds like the movie The Entity, about a California haunting. Yeah, maybe. I think it's interesting, right? The more you hear about some of these old time ghost stories, the more you see parallels in like modern Hollywood stuff, right, where they just blatantly ripped them off. So yeah. Okay. All right. Marge Sanchez, not your real name anyway, so it's all good. Okay. All right. Michael Strange, nice to meet you. Okay. So all right. So then let's play the final part of this. So Amherst poltergeist, 1878. We got some interesting things going on here. So there's the attack. Suddenly, in the tedium of this ordinary home, horror struck, but not from some paranormal force, rather from an all-too-human monster. This was the nearly raped by an acquaintance named Bob McNeil, a shoemaker with a disdainful reputation of which Esther had been unaware. Although she escaped the attack with minor injuries, the violence against her seemed somehow to open a door to further attacks, this time from an unseen entity or entities, and the Amherst poltergeist mystery began. All right, so then all the house was crowded, extended family, all this stuff. Let's just play the final part of this clip here. That's why I clip them up, so I don't have to tell the whole damn story. Here we go. Part 3 of the Amherst poltergeist, and then we'll read some of this article and then keep on trucking here. Talking about ghosts tonight, guys. Talking about poltergeists, and I don't know. What do you think? Are they real? Have you seen them? Do you think that salt or sage or any of these things actually help? Do you think they're all good or they're all evil? There's some mix. We're talking about all that stuff. So basically looking to hear from you and just tell some ghost stories. Just kind of kick it, chill stream tonight, and that's what's on deck. So here we go. Part 3 of the terrifying Amherst poltergeist mystery from 1878. Action.
The doctor later wrote to a colleague about his experience and said that he had considered writing about the paranormal events he had witnessed and submitting it to scientific journals. He decided against it because he felt no one would believe him, and added that he wouldn't believe it either had he not seen it for himself. In the coming months, the poltergeist activity became more frequent and more dangerous. Lit matches would appear in the air and drop onto beds, causing small fires. Sewing pins would appear and often stab Esther in the face. A pocket knife held in a boy's hand was once ripped from his grasp and flew through the air, stabbing Esther in the back. On one occasion, scratching noises were heard, only to find the words, "Esther Cox, you are mine to kill," carved on the wall in 1-foot high letters above Esther's bed. Esther was afraid that the poltergeist activity was going to harm someone other than herself, and so she moved out of the home on Princess Street. The poltergeist followed. At one of the places she found to live, a farm, a fire broke out in the barn, burning it to the ground. The farmer had heard stories about Esther and the mysterious fires on Princess Street, but he was not a believer, and he called the police. Esther was charged with arson and sentenced to 4 months in jail. She was, however, released after serving just 1 month. After being released from jail, the poltergeist seemed to almost disappear. There were only a few more minor incidents that occurred, and Esther was able to move on with her life. She married twice and had a son from each husband. She died in 1912 at the age of 53.
All right, that's old school. That's old school. So this is, again, the Amherst Poltergeist from 1858. And so here's some more of the things that happen, more manifestations straight from this page from liveabout.com. So unexplained fires, like they said, and they actually put her in jail for arson at some point because they blamed the fires on her. Knives and forks were thrown by some entity sticking violently into woodwork. Lit matches materialized out of thin air and dropped onto beds. Of course, witnesses for this stuff, guys. This is not just after-the-fact stuff. Furniture moved about by itself, flipping over or slamming into walls. Loud slaps were heard, followed by the appearance of red finger marks on Esther's face. Sewing pins appeared from nowhere and were jabbed into Esther's face. And a pocket knife was ripped from the hand of a neighborhood boy and stabbed into Esther's back, which they just said there in the thing, too. So, interesting, some of this stuff. Old school, 1858. And this is Canada, right? This is our Canadian neighbors with some hauntings up there. So, yeah, definitely good stuff. This was one of the ones I saw that here's another actual page that has some of this stuff on here. So this is 40 minutes southeast of Moncton, New Brunswick. So if anybody doesn't know where this is actually at, now you know, and here's the link and dropping it in, and you can check it out. If maybe you live close by, and you can go check out, and I'm sure they have maybe some kind of monument or something here to commemorate the poltergeist. Let's see, Esther Cox, you are mine to kill was carved into the wood. Yeah, crazy stuff here. So again, more interesting stuff. This is from mysteriesofcanada.com. So this is not just an American thing, guys. We can call the Canadians nutter butters too. So it's equal opportunity over here, non-denominational equal opportunity. All right, so there we go. There's the first one. So that's the Great Amherst Mystery, Canada's most famous poltergeist, they say. I don't know if it's the most famous, but it's definitely an oldie but a goodie, right? 1858. Let's see. What else do we got? Looking for calls from you guys tonight. We're doing just ghost stories. We're talking about poltergeists. We're talking about have you seen these things? Do you think they exist? We're kind of going through some of these stories and looking at how old they are. Again, 1858. Some of this terrifying stuff. Things appearing out of nowhere and starting fires, or stabbing people with the pocket knife from the boy. Things like this, and presumably with witnesses, because you don't just make this shit up, right? I mean, like I said, unless you're trying to sell a book or something like that. But copy that, Penny. Thank you. Thanks for being here. Okay, so that's the thing, right? That's the deal, and that's what we're talking about tonight. So looking for calls from you, 702-957-1037. Have you seen a ghost? If you have, do you think it's a poltergeist? Do you think there's a distinction between a ghost and a regular regular ghost and a poltergeist? And do you think salt or sage or any of this stuff actually has any effect? And what's actually going on? And is it related to UFOs in any way, shape, or form? I guess all the things are on the table here. So anyway, we're going to take this call in just a sec because we got another call coming in. I appreciate it, guys. But that's what we're doing. Ghost stories tonight. 702-957-1037. Click the Discord link, and we're hanging out. We're kicking it. Beer number 2, just chilling and talking ghosts. So let's take this phone call, and we'll keep on moving here. All right, you're on Trouble Minds with Mike.
Cool story.
What's up, buddy? This is Jay.
Hey,
from
Mike, how are you doing?
Jay from New York. I'm fantastic, man. How are you?
Great. Watching the chaos all around.
Nice.
Nice. Entertaining.
Nice.
So we're talking about poltergeists and stuff like that. I've only been on for a couple of minutes. I was talking to my mom. But I had a Masonic temple that I bought on a tax sale for like $7,000, 89,000 square foot building and stuff like that. And people were all over us from the very beginning. We want to get in there and do our ghost hunter thing with the little EKG readers and all that stuff. And instantly, the first group came in there and they were getting stuff. And it was like, well, so what's that mean? You know? I'm like, well, there's something here. And it's like, well, okay, we're going to see it, and whatever, you know. Well, we don't know. We got to go back. We got to debunk our own selves with the people that we look at. So then they send us a different group. And they went in there, and we said the little prayer before everything started, so you don't take anything, I don't know, if it's on your T-shirt or something like that, and you drag it home with you. And they went and they debunked it and everything else like that. And then these other guys came, and I'm telling you, these dudes had the 30-06 of ghost hunting tools. They had cameras they set up everywhere and everything else like that. They released the report to my partner. He quit the business, sold it to somebody without me knowing it. Lock, stock, and barrel building and everything, and they never even let me see the report because of the stuff that was going on in there.
Oh, so they actually
saw stuff and you heard stuff like you. I'm sorry, go ahead.
So they actually caught stuff on camera and stuff, and sounds and whatnot. So there was actually stuff on camera.
Like one of the big things that they look for is they take tons and tons of still pictures when they're doing this stuff. And then they go back and they open them and they're time stamped with the audio. Everybody's carrying an audio recorder. Everybody's carrying an EKG recorder. And everything's time stamped. So what they do is it usually takes them about 2 months to put all of their data together. Was that the fire truck running by? Was somebody picking up a dumpster? You can filter out that noise, and now we've got this other noise. But what they really like to see is when there's orbs over people that meet the timestamps on the audio and the EKG. And they started showing the pictures of the orbs and stuff like that were in there. And like everybody had one when you were walking around in there. And it's like, dust particles and light refraction and all that stuff to debunk it and stuff like that. But there were times in the pictures with the audio that were not, no way, man. Okay. Even if you didn't believe, you'd have to look at yourself and be like, worth further investigation. It's real. It's definitely, whether or not it's the conglomeration of the people spinning out mind waves because they're looking for it, or it's the fact that it's really real. Me being over there by myself in the middle of the night, sweeping the floor and cleaning the hallways and stuff like that. There's been times where I left. I'm not going downstairs in the basement and seeing why the radio is playing. It's a sad idea. I saw too many horror movies. Come back tomorrow.
Let's go back tomorrow.
Well, I mean, really, come on. You're in a 89,000 square foot, 6-story building tall with 2 basements. You hear some bullshit going on downstairs in the basement. You're going to grab your cell phone, camera, and your flashlight and go down there and take pictures, or you're going to be like, maybe tomorrow might be a better day to check it out when it's light outside?
I would think so. I mean, like common sense, right? I think definitely.
Yeah. Well,
okay.
I mean, there's gangs around in your neighborhood and stuff like that. You hear gunfire, you're going to run over there and check it out? Or,
Yeah, exactly.
A stray bullet or something?
No thanks. Okay, so you think that the Masonic Temple was definitely haunted then, is what you're saying?
I would say the one that I bought here in Binghamton. Yeah. I mean, you'd hear little kids running in the hallway. You'd be over there late night. We used to go roller skating in it, my wife and I, because it's decrepit. It's abandoned for, I don't know, 30, 40, maybe 50 years, and nobody did anything with it. It went up for tax auction for $7,000, and I'm like, I spent more money than that drinking in a year. I'll buy it, try to make something out of it.
That's funny. That's nice. You got your own personal roller skating rink. That's pretty hot. That's how big that building was, huh?
Movie theater, 100 or 1,800 people could sit their butt down and watch a movie or an opera or a play or a concert, or butts on the ground.
That's crazy. Did you personally see anything?
It was huge.
Anything nuts happen in there? Did you personally see anything, or is it all just reports from other people?
The time that we were in there with the guys that had the 30-06, as I call it, of ghost hunting. I mean, they had a box with four different lights on it: red, blue, green. I don't remember the other color. And they would ask questions, and they would ask them to multiple choice questions into the box: red, blue, green, yellow, whatever. And the thing would go off. And there was a point that the guy was pushing somebody he didn't want to talk to. You know, I'm not interested in you. And the machine was kind of going nuts. Do you want us to leave? Hit the red button. Red, 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 red. Can we ask you a couple of questions? Red, 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 red. No, and then the thing would start going nuts. And then the little spiritual advisor girl who did the prayer and everything else like that said, I'm getting out of here. So we go out into the hall with the girl and stuff like that, just because it's a decrepit old building with structural issues and everything else like that. So nobody's unattended. You know, you need a tour guide. So they keep going with the thing in the room. So I walk back in here and I say, guys, I'm the guy that has to come in here and sweep up and clean up and do construction and run wires and stuff. So this thing obviously does not want to talk to you. Stop talking with him.
Leave it alone. Leave it alone.
There's more upstairs. There's another one down in the coal room. There's another one down into the sewer cistern. There's another one. You know, this one is had its time with you already.
Right, exactly.
Mad.
I guess you got to be able to read the signs.
Leave it alone.
Leave it alone. Hey, Jay. So I got to ask you then. So do you believe ghosts are real? And what about poltergeist? Do you think there's a way to keep them away, or do you think there's nothing we can do about it?
Well, I mean, there's a difference. Like a haunting is with a person, right? A haunting goes with a person. A poltergeist goes with a building. Is that?
I think so.
That's old or making that up.
No.
I think movies.
I think you're right. I think that's part of the deal is that the poltergeist will haunt a place or like an object, even like a teddy bear or rocking chair, things like this.
Right, the Annabelle thingy in the Pennsylvania museum there.
Right, exactly.
Yeah, it's got to be. I mean, there's too much scientific documents. The girl from Canada that was reading the thing from 1858 or whatever. I mean, you know, that was documented all the way back in 1858. You know,
and even before that,
all you know.
Okay.
Start going through the Bible, and you really want, you know, there's 88 banned books from the Bible. You want to start going through all those, where they talk about that kind of crap too. You know.
Exactly.
Documented forever.
All right, so do you think
aliens, you know?
Yeah, all that for sure. Do you think there's any way to keep them away, or do you think we're just kind of at their mercy if they decide to do some bad stuff?
Well, I live in an old funeral home. Like the building that I bought, my actual house, is an old funeral home, and you never turn off the TV. You just don't turn it off, because if you do, it'll come back on. And there's certain rooms that really like to have the light on. So you just leave them on. They live here too. They've been living here longer than me.
Yeah, I would imagine, huh?
So we get along, you know?
So
we get along. You like the TV on, we leave the TV on. You like the light on in the parlor, you like the light on in the butler's pantry. They're always on. There you go. No trouble. Nobody's ever changed the TV when I'm watching the Yankees game or anything like that. Every once in a while, you'll see something else in the mirrors when you're walking by in the one bedroom, out the corner of your eye. Like there's something there, and then you turn your head and it's gone. It's in the mirror.
Yeah, that happens to me too sometimes. But yeah, crazy stuff. Okay, so any final thoughts on Poltergeist or anything else while we got you on the phone?
Don't mess with them, man. Leave them alone.
You got it.
They're happy and everything else like that. You just stay away, man.
You
it's like going
it.
over there and poking the bear with a stick, you know?
I'm going to call that good advice. And yeah, I'm going to leave it alone myself. So a good advice. I appreciate the call, my man. Thanks a lot. Thanks for listening. Right. Thanks for hanging out.
Have a good night. It's a pleasure always talking to you.
You too, man. You too, man. Thanks a lot. Jay from New York, guys. There you go. As simple as that. You want to be on the show? We're talking about ghosts tonight. Poltergeist, the rest of this stuff. Does it? Have you seen anything like this? Anything in your family? Any of the rest of these things? So Michelle's had a good point up here about that story we played. Michelle, what's up? Says let's see, where is it? That sounded more like a interdimensional being instead of a ghost, and that was to that 1858 story, I believe. Let's see, what else do we got? I linked to that Ghost Adventures in the chat if you guys want to check out that video when the brick jumped or whatever. Let's see. Derek says, I heard kids running around this house stayed near a graveyard, and then someone was throwing furniture around late at night. Yeah, I think those types of stories are all over the place. What's up, Derek? Joe did not call in yet because he's busy. He's going to be working lots in the next couple weeks, so he said he'll be scarce. So he's okay. Michelle says this. What's up, Michelle? Says, question. So these tools these ghost hunters use to detect ghosts, what are these instruments picking up? Is it energy? If that's the case, we are energy before everything is energy before it becomes mass. But who says it's just people's energy? Could be something else entirely. And that's a fantastic comment. And I think that's what they're looking for, right? The static and the white noise and the rest of this stuff. It's all got to be energy at some point. The electromagnetic field of the Earth. Like there's a ton of actual white noise happening even in silence, right? It's there. And so it just depends on, I don't know. I'm not the expert there, but fantastic question. And I do think you're right. They're detecting energy, like fluctuations in that energy. And I don't know, does anybody, so I know Juan said he's done some ghost hunting. Anybody else done this stuff and know what these actual ghost instruments are that they use to hunt ghosts? Anybody know this stuff? If you do, looking to talk about any of that, if you guys are into that ghost hunters or any of this stuff, and if you know something about this more than I do, I'm just knucklehead on the internet. 702-957-1037 looking to talk to you. Troubledminds.org is the official website. You can find the phone number and the Discord link there and talk about this stuff. And I agree. Michelle's right. Energy. There's energy, and it's some kind of interesting something or other. I don't know how it all fits together, but I definitely buy that. Let's see. What we got a couple of people showing up. We got Justin. Thanks for being here. We got Dark Devious. How you doing? Thanks for being here. Justin says, I had a poltergeist on my neck for 5 years. Got rid of it when I burned an antique clock I'd inherited from my great-grandparents. Is there anything that actually made you realize that's what it was? That the particular clock was the haunting, or was it something else? Let's see. Reese, what's up, says, I used to dismiss ghost stories until I looked into quantum mechanics a bit and realized modern science has absolutely no idea what's going on. Spooky action at a distance, said Einstein. I think it's no accident he used the word spooky, right? I think it's no accident. Reese, thanks for showing up. Okay, what else do we got? Let's see. March says, does anyone know how to remove block subscribers? I can't even find a list of my measly 9 subscribers. I have no idea. how to find a list. It definitely in the I don't know, to be perfectly honest. I think the only thing I've ever seen is like the last person or the last 2 people or something to follow the channel. So I don't know. If anybody knows, can anybody help Marge there remove or block subscribers? I guess you got some people harassing you. Let's see. Reese says, yeah, spooky coming from Einstein as well. You couldn't write it. Yeah, exactly. Spooky action at a distance. What's up, Juan says, from what I know, they can manipulate electric magnetic fields and can feed off emotions like anger. And it's also said they can store energy in certain places, especially like quartz or running water. Okay. Again, good stuff. Good stuff. Like I said, this is not my forte. Clearly, many things are not, other than just blabbing on the internet. But it's it is what it is, right? We're talking about ghosts tonight, poltergeists, and now we're talking about energy and how maybe it fits into this equation. And I don't know. Great questions, guys. Great chat. Keep it coming. Now listen to hear from you and your ghost stories. 702-957-1037. Click the Discord link, troubleminds.org, and there you go. There you go. Okay. Thank you, Penny. Thanks for helping out. Let's see. The UK is insane, mate. Yeah, I've heard that. I've totally heard that. Okay, so that was one story. Where are we at time wise? Okay, we got a few minutes here. So we're going to. So we've got some other actual poltergeist type hauntings to talk about tonight. So we're not done by any stretch. We're about halfway through. So we're going to take a quick break here in just a couple minutes. But just to recap, if anybody's just joining us, we're talking about poltergeists. We're talking about ghost stories. We started with kind of the definitions and some loose from Wikipedia and places like this, and then some other stuff about famous stories and getting into the Great Amherst Mystery, and a young woman by the name of, what is her name? Esther Cox, and she was 14 years old when this all started, and there was some sort of haunting, and this was called the Great Amherst Mystery. That was written into a book by somebody named Walter Hubble, so an actor with interest in paranormal psychic phenomena. So there we go. We got a call coming in, but after this call we will take a break, and then we'll get back and start talking about the rest of these things. Start talking about more ghost stories. All right, let's take this phone call. Let's do it. You're on Troubled Minds with Mike. What's your first name? Where are you calling from?
Hey, what's up, Mike? Skill.
What's up? How you doing, Kelly? Kelly from Colorado. How are you, my man?
Doing good, man.
Right on. Right on. I'm hoping you've seen a ghost at some point.
Yeah, I've seen a couple ghosts, or I don't know what you would call them. You know, that's me and my wife, Michelle. We were talking about, your conversation tonight. But yeah, I don't know. The energy that I seen, or the ghost that I seen, is when I lived up in Alaska. I don't know if a lot of energy up there, or must have been the place or the house. But where I seen him at, I was in two different homes. So when I first got up there, I was living with my brother, him and his wife. And, so I was just getting established up there. So I was cleaning the house up one afternoon before my brother and sister-in-law got home. And above the garage, they had, previous owners had built a room above the garage. So that's where I stayed at. And they had three little stairs that go up inside there. Well, when I was finished doing the dishes, I was, and this is broad daylight. It wasn't at night or nothing. And but anyway, I was looking out the window, right, from the sink area, and then so I started spinning around. When I turned around, I seen a little girl. She was she probably looked like she was maybe, say, 3 or 4 years old. She was wearing a little white dress and looked like a ruffly, like a lot of, ruffles and stuff. So it looked like an older dress, way back in time, like when first, I'd say miners or, families were going up there. But yeah, she just stood there for a minute. And at first, when I seen her, I kind of tripped out, I had to blink a couple times, see. When I, finally realized again, I did the double take. What I seen was there, it was kind of like a mist, like something disappeared. It wasn't real thick or anything, but it's kind of it looked kind of foggy in that direction. That's the first time I've seen one that was, I wouldn't say the first time, but it was one of the times that I seen them when I was up there in Alaska. And another time I seen one is when I got my own apartment, right? So, and we used to go out and hit the bars with my buddies when I lived up there. But when I came home one night, I went into the bathroom to, wash my face a little bit from sweating and dancing or whatever from that night. But I remember I was looking at myself in the mirror, and then I was washing my face off in the sink, and look at myself in the mirror. There was this old man, and his face was directly standing behind me, and it was over my right shoulder. His face was in the mirror, So when I freaked the fuck out, you know what I mean, at first, and I kind of like just turned around real quick just to see if someone was standing behind me, you know, because I really didn't feel anything that, you know, if it was that close, I didn't feel anything, whether it be a ghost or whatnot, you know, that's like we were talking. To me, it's just energy. Everything was energy. Everything's energy before it's mass. So we're seeing maybe what these people look like in the time of, you know, their energy. You know what I mean? Maybe they're not in mass, you know, I mean, maybe we were seeing their energy, but yeah, his face was directly behind me. Scared the shit out of me. And when I flipped around and looked in the mirror again, and in the mirror, that's where I seen kind of like a mist again, like, you know what I mean? Like it just faded away. Maybe that's a better description instead of a mist. Like they just fade away, you know, they're not there anymore. But yeah, that was the second time I seen one up there.
And those were both Alaska, huh?
Yeah, up in Anchorage.
Yeah, I've actually heard that up in Alaska there's not just around Anchorage, but like it's supposedly in like the entire northern wilderness. There's like just this dark energy of like that's why a lot of people go missing up there, right? A lot of suicides, a lot of depression up there. Like there's a lot of just I don't know. I wonder if it's related. I wonder if it's like an old ancient spirit that kind of hangs out in that neck of the woods. Who knows?
Yeah, I mean it's pretty crazy. Like the feeling of when you first seen one, which is pretty crazy. You know what I mean? But like I saying, it's energy. So those machines that these people are using, you know, to detect ghosts or whatnot, you know, I would say they're, you know, it's detecting some of an energy or a vibration. It's the same thing, you know, it's what makes up the universe. So it could be what you could say an interdimensional being, a third dimension, or fourth dimension, fifth dimension, something that can come in and play. Or even if, you know, we're talking ghosts, you know, it's kind of almost like what in the Emerald Tablets of Thoth, that kind of reminded me when he talked about, I think it was Tablet 8, and he was talking about bringing up, you know, the humans back then were bringing up things from the deep, you know, I guess from the darkness or something, and, you know, to gain power, some kind of a power, you know what I mean? So it's just be like almost kind of like witchcraft, you know, everything was, even in the Bible they talk about witchcraft, but anyway, get off point, but in the Emerald Tablets of Thoth, they talk about, you know, they were moving in the shadows, in the kingdom of shadows, you know, they moved along around with men. I mean, we had this conversation before, but it's like that, you know what I mean? If they're bring something up, or, you know, like King Solomon, he talks about he can control demons, what he called demons or whatever, and not demon. And when they speak of demons, it wasn't like, you know, these things are all demonic. Not all of them are all demonic. It could help you in some ways, in some fashions through your life. But if you was to, you know, do them wrong, you know, they, of course, you know, they would some kind of a backlash for it. But yeah, ghost, that's a whole different realm too, because you could say it could be anything. So if anything was energy, if everything was energy at one time, let's go back to, you know, my neck of the woods, like Sumerian, and they're talking, they were saying that this planet was something else before. You know what I mean? Maybe that's where the dinosaurs were at, or, you know, these giants, or fairies, or these little creatures that people see, or skeletons that they found, you know, in Russia. That was, you know, Germany was, you know, the army was all over this planet, you know, trying to find some weird shit. And some of the stuff in these museums and private collections people find in, you never know, you know, maybe it's that energy, some kind of a weird, I don't know.
Yeah, it definitely exists. You know, I mean, it's like anything else, right? When we're talking about these types of things, it's really difficult to pin down as this or that specifically. But you know, people feel it. You know, you feel it. Like there's certain places that are just, you know, more or less maybe filled with that energy. You know, maybe like they say, you know, certain times, maybe even like Halloween and you know, 3 a.m. and the veil thins and things like this. You know, like maybe there's something to all that. That there's like we can't really explain when and where it happens. It just kind of happens. And it might be here in this spot today, but that exact thing may be in a different spot tomorrow, We're just kind of, as they would say, right, chasing ghosts. I guess that's probably the best way to put it.
Yeah, there was, I don't know, let's say people say they have more of a in tune with that, and it seems like I have, because that's not the only time I've seen it. I've got plenty of stories, but what's crazy is I was talking with my brother. He lives in Alaska. He still lives up there. He's probably been up there for about 25, 30 years now. But he has the ability. He kind of tripped everybody out when he was talking, because we were, we talk amongst, we haven't seen each other for a while. So he came down for I think it was last Thanksgiving or something. But it was crazy. The way he was saying is that he has he's got the weird ability to sense, somebody that had passed. So, for instance, he was his daughter, and the boyfriend moved into their home, before they moved out, got their own stuff. But he had his grandfather had passed, and he had him in the urn inside the bedroom. My brother keeps walking by, in his home. He's getting this weird fucking cold feeling all the time, and he asks his wife, he's like, "Hey, does he have an urn in there or something?" And she's all, "Yeah, it's his grandpa." So he can feel them. But what tripped me the shit out was that there was something weird in their new home that they had bought, like somebody had died or something. You know what I mean? That it was something that was kind of terrorizing. His daughter was having nightmares where she could see this. It was like a shadow on the wall. That, terrorize her at night. It wouldn't touch her or anything, but it would, just fuck with her, and she didn't like it. So my brother, in his dream, he said that he went into the hallway and he seen it. So he ran into his daughter's room and he looked in, and in his dream, it was like daytime, but he looked into the walls and he said all the walls were black. So he started, he just started tugging on the wall. He looked around and he seen his box. So he started grabbing the wall, and it started coming, like he was putting this evil or this ghost or, dark shadow. He was just stuffing it in the box. And when he was keep doing that, the room, you could see the darkness, peel away from the ceiling and the walls. And he was, just keep stuffing it into the wall and into the box. And then he closed it up. And then when he did that, and then he put it on he said he put it on this shelf in his room, in his dream. And then he laid back down. And then he woke up, and then say his daughter. He kind of asked his daughter later on, did anything else happen? And he's like, no. But yeah, he says he battles things, and then how he does it, he'll stick into wrestle this one. He had to wrestle one throughout his house, and he was literally on the ground when he said he woke up one time. It was literally in his basement, laying on the ground. But yeah, he finally got him, and he stuck him in a box. That's what he says. He sticks them in boxes.
And so it kind of traps them like a genie or something like this, right? Once they're trapped, they can't spread that dark energy or whatever. Yeah, that's crazy. So then, do you think it works this way? Maybe you asked him, if somebody else opens the box, do they let it out and it sticks to them?
That would be, I don't know. I'd have to. And that's what I asked him. I was like, so where do you have him in your dream? He says now he put him into a big closet. You mean? You can't. It's got a lock on it. In his dream, it's a room in his house that he does have a lock on it. It's like a big safe. He's got guns and stuff in there. But that's why in his dream, it's just he's got these things in boxes stuffed away in there.
That's fascinating, man. That's fascinating. Yeah, I am not that guy. I'm trying to see my pets here. Trying to see my pets, man. It's not happening.
I have, like I said, our family, because we're Native American, we're part Spanish. My from my both parents from both sides were Native American. But yeah, I got stories for you, man. I mean, there's one day when we were talking about going to Vegas. Well, we had to meet up.
I would love to. I would love to, man. Please let me know if you do. I owe you a beer at least. We need to hang out.
Yeah, man. But anyway, I just wanted to call and give you my couple stories that I had, and let everybody else, and maybe some other people that got some stories to share as well.
Okay, I appreciate it. Thank you so much, my man. Kelly from Colorado, bless the wife. Thanks for listening, guys. You guys are the best. Stay safe out there, okay?
All right, buddy. Take it easy.
Thanks a lot, man. You too. There you go. Simple as that, guys. Look at all the fantastic people we got calling tonight, telling ghost stories. So if you're just joining us, we're talking about poltergeist. We're talking about ghosts. We're talking about that energy, whatever that happens to be. What does it mean to you? Do you believe it exists? Do you believe it doesn't? Do you believe it's a bunch of people trying to sell books or get clicks on the internet? Or do you think it goes deeper than that? Do you think there's energy involved here? And that's really the conversation. So we got some other ghost stories we're going to tell after we take a quick break. But we've had several calls tonight telling some fantastic stories. But we want to hear from you. If you are into this and think we have a ghost story you need to hear, I got one from Justin. I'm going to read the rest of that in a sec. Justin, thanks for filling in the gaps there. If you guys don't want too shy to call, no problem. Just type your story in the chat. I'll read that. And we're just kicking it, hanging out, talking about ghosts. We're going to take a quick 2-minute break, and then we will be right back. This is a chance for you to go grab a drink, go stretch your legs, hit the restroom, whatever it is, and then we will be right back talking about ghosts, poltergeists, the energy, and whatever else this happens to be. So hang tight, and we will be back in 2 minutes. Enjoy this sweet, sweet 80s music. I told you it was sweet 80s music. Welcome back to Troubled Minds Radio. I'm your host, Michael Strange, and we're hanging out tonight, and we're just talking about ghosts. We've had several calls tonight telling some ghost stories, and some pretty good ones too. So I think sometimes I think you got to just clear the air, right? Just kind of do a ghost show and get the stories out that people have been holding on to here. So we got some good stuff to read in chat, some good ghost stories. So if you guys have these, go ahead and type them in the chat. We will read them. What's up, Peter? I see you there. Keegan, how you doing? Who else? Derek, James, Kevin. Hello. I see you guys hanging out. Juan, thanks for being here. Let's see. And so Justin's got a good one I'll read in just a sec. What's up, Reese? Has got some good points there in chat as well on YouTube. Thanks for hanging out, guys. We're just hanging out, doing our thing, talking ghosts and the aliens, conspiracy, the paranormal. That's what we do on the show, and that's what we do here. What's up, Peter? Thanks for catch up later. No problem. Thanks for sharing. Thanks for sharing the show and everything else and being here. Let's see. What else do we got? Okay. So let's get back to that one real quick from Justin. Now Justin actually said that he was had a haunting here. Let's see. The chat has scrolled quite a bit, so let me go find this part here. Okay, so Justin says that he had a haunting and he burned until... Okay, here we go. I had a poltergeist on my neck for 5 years. Got rid of it when I burned an antique clock I'd inherited from my grandparents. So then I've asked the follow-up, so how'd you know it was a clock that caused it? So he says, I saw the thing coming out of the clock the day before I burned it. It looked like a black flash, as if it ate the light and hovered in the air 2 feet above the floor. Almost crapped my pants. Yeah, that scared the hell out of me too. And then so of course then you burned it, and crazy. Yeah, so that was clearly some sort of a haunted object, right? And he said, saw the thing coming out of the clock. Let's see, it looked like black lightning and ate the light. Thank you for repeating that. Let's see, because the chat scrolls and I got to go way back up to get it. So anyway, yeah, we're just hanging out talking ghost stories, guys. If you guys have any of this stuff that you want to get on the air or taking calls, for sure. We've had several calls tonight. Really, really good stories. You can dial this phone number, 702-957-1037. Click the Discord link. You can find both the phone number and the Discord link at troubledminds.org. And I've got some continuing poltergeist stories to tell you. I'm not done yet, so don't worry about that. We still got the other half of the show to go here, but I'm more interested in hearing from you. Do you believe in ghosts? Do you believe it's this energy thing? If it's poltergeist, do you think there's a way to keep them away from you? Is it only good energy? Is it only evil energy? Is there a mix? What is all this about, and what is it that you believe? Maybe you come from, like Kelly said, he's got a Native American family, and they got some stories that go back, right? I think that's the thing. There's some stories that go back generations in many of these cases. So love to hear that stuff if you guys are into it and you're into telling the story. That's what we're doing tonight. So let's see. Reese, what's up? Says some pretty good stuff here. Mainstream science still can't explain what magnetism or gravity is. They just observe and explain the effects. Good stuff there. Reese says, I've never heard of an... okay, let's skip that one. And then I started being skeptical after they didn't close the airports in the UK at the start. Okay, I see. Talking about what's going on in the United Kingdom. So for you folks in the United Kingdom, by the way, I didn't actually officially say this. Congratulations on the Brexit that finally happened after a sloppy four ugly years of contentious fighting in the Parliament over there. But you guys like to laugh at us and the Orange Man Bad Media. We like to laugh at you and the fail that is Brexit. But at least something got done. So hopefully it ends up for the better. That's a huge economy over there, and now supposedly that the United Kingdom has their own control their own destiny. Let's say they don't have to ask Brussels or whoever for permission to do shit in their own country. So something to be said for that. Okay, so anyway, with that aside, let's keep going. We're talking about ghosts, talking about poltergeists, talking about these sorts of things. Now, there's another one that let's go to what else do we got? So this was the Great Amherst Mystery. All right. Now there's other ones here. There's another one called let's see. Do we do that one? Yeah. Let's save this one. Let's go to this actually. This one is one that most of us know. This is one of the most famous hauntings ever. Okay, and this was actually made into one of those super famous movies, and we got some clips here. So let's hear what this is all about. If anybody remembers this, the actual Amityville haunting, and there's some actual pretty horrifying facts about this. So let's talk about this and listen to some of these clips and keep on trucking with this. And then we have another Canadian story as well that we can tell at the end here, and then get into maybe some the Poltergeist the movie and maybe the curse that came along with that. Have you guys heard of that? Lots of stuff to talk about. More important to hear from you. If you have a ghost story to tell tonight, looking to talk to you. 702-957-1037, troubledminds.org. You can find the phone number and the Discord link. Let's go. Let's talk about this one. This is from biography.com. The real Amityville horror facts, right? Everybody's seen this one, or at least, next to The Exorcist or one of these other, very, very classic horror films, right? And not only that, it's based on a true story, all right? So now there's some interesting things here. So let's look at this real fast. So this is from biography.com. Let me just read a little bit of this. 30 miles outside of New York, nestled in the Long Island town of Amityville, stands the house forever linked to the Amityville horror phenomenon. On November 13th, 1974, the estate was the scene of mass murder. Using a .35 Marlin rifle, 23-year-old Donald J. DeFeo Jr. murdered his entire family while they were asleep, which included his parents and 4 siblings. 13 months later, the Lutz family purchased a home at a drastically reduced price of $80,000 due to the murders, of course, but only lasted 28 days before leaving it. The spine-tingling tales of paranormal activity are what propelled the legend of the Amityville Horror and spawned a torrent of books, documentaries, and films. So let's play a little bit of this and some of these clips, and we can listen to a more coherent narrative based on Amityville Horror. Part 1, action.
A good horror story is even more chilling when it is based on a true one. Whichever way may be portrayed, either through books, movies, or other mediums, the fact remains that the events that occurred was once upon a time someone's haunting reality. In this case, it was the realities of the DeFeo and Lutz families during their time in their Amityville home in New York. In the autumn of 1974, a family of 7 would suddenly be reduced to just one surviving member. The one who committed the crime. Before that fateful night, the DeFeos weren't exactly a happy household, with rumors of Ronald Sr. being hostile, abusive, overbearing, and dominant. His way of fathering is believed to have caused Ronald Jr., also known as Butch, develop into a troubled young adult. The DeFeos owned an auto body shop where Butch was employed, but he would often spend his time at bars instead of at work. Butch eventually became addicted to drugs and alcohol, which led him to become violent towards his family. An incident had occurred where he reportedly pulled a gun on his father, and there were other times where he would physically lash out at his family. In the early hours of November 13th, 1974, Ronald Butch DeFeo Jr. snapped. With rifle in hand, Butch went from room to room, murdering his family members one by one as they slept. One of the peculiar things about this incident is that while the murdering unfolded within an estimated 15-minute time span, the way the bodies were found showed no signs of struggle. In addition, the sounds of gunshots oddly did not wake any of the other family members, or at least it didn't draw them out of bed. The bodies were found all face down on their beds, as though they'd been positioned that way.
Okay, so we've got some horrifying murders happening in 1974, the DeFeo murders, DeFeo. And so we have one individual kill not only his parents, but his siblings, and in this particular house, the Amityville house. And the address, if you're looking for it, is exactly this. I'm going to link this, and you guys can check it out and go straight on the, I think it's Apple Maps, but this is through DuckDuckGo. And look at the actual the house itself. Let me hit that satellite here. It's a nice right by the river here. You zoom in, and there's your Amityville house right there. Let's get as close as we can. And then that's the spot. There's an actual address where this took place. It's confirmed that these murders happened in 1974 at this residence. And it looks like right there on the river, right in the backyard of this place. There's the little dock. Got the river. Looks like every town in America, right? If you had a sweet river in your backyard. So crazy stuff. There's the actual address again: 108 Ocean Avenue, Amityville, New York, 11701. And so let's hear part 2 of this Amityville story. Action.
To add to the strangeness, the rifle reportedly had no silencer, and aside from the family dog barking, none of the neighbors reported hearing even a single gunshot going off that night. After horrifically murdering his own family, Butch took a bath, got dressed for work, and eventually reported the murder, claiming he discovered the grisly scene after arriving home from his job. He went so far as to propose that it was the work of a mafia hitman accompanied by 2 accomplices. He said that they showed up at his house that morning, put a gun to his head, and forced him to kill his family members. His alibi wouldn't last long under scrutiny, where DeFeo eventually broke under pressure, admitting to the murders. He later showed police where he had discarded the rifle and the bloodstained clothes. In his confession, he stated, "Once I started, I just couldn't stop. It went so fast." It was said that Ronald Jr. was hearing voices that influenced him to carry out the murders. However, the prosecutors had a psychiatrist argue against that, who had diagnosed Ronald with antisocial personality disorder, meaning that Ronald hadn't actually been hearing voices, nor had he been possessed by another personality. He just thought that the killing of his family was not wrong. DeFeo was convicted by a jury for 6 counts of murder and sentenced to 6 consecutive life terms, which he is still serving at the Sullivan Correctional Facility in New York. There is still a theory that a second killer was also present, but never caught. Just a little over a year following the mass murder of the DeFeo family, the DeFeo residence on Ocean Boulevard would become the dream home for a new family, the Lutzes. With the Amityville home riddled in its gruesome past, one can't help but wonder about the possibility of a residual energy lingering on the property, haunting the ground it was trapped on. But one wouldn't have to wonder for very long before the Lutzes would come forth with their alleged not-so-housewarming stories.
And this is when the movie would pick up if everybody's seen the actual film itself, Amityville Horror, and how the weirdness begins. So let's just plow through this and get through some of this to make sure we get the full story. But so this is again, so the Amityville Horror, a real haunting, okay? And so it started, the story, as we understand it, right, begins in 1974 with the murder of a family. One of the brothers decides that in the middle of the night, for whatever reason, maybe, I think the interesting part about this is how far back does this go? Was there a haunting there already happening that this energy, this dark energy, was kind of taking hold of this young man that made him do it? Fascinating to think about. But so he does 1974. He murders his entire family. He ends up in jail, multiple life sentences. He's still in jail to this day. And then a new family moves in at the discount rate because, of course, when somebody gets slaughtered in a house, nobody wants to buy said house. So here we go. Part 3 with Amityville Horror and action.
After house hunting for what seemed like forever, George and Kathy Lutz finally came across a listing for what they didn't realize at the time was the DeFeo home. They decided to check it out, and while the house was over their original budget of $30,000 to $50,000, they, for some reason, found themselves drawn to the attractive, hip-roofed colonial house with 6 bedrooms, a heated pool, and a large boathouse on the Amityville River. And despite being informed about the house's murderous past, the Lutzes fell in love with the home and decided it would be theirs. They purchased it at the bargain price of $80,000 and never once considered the house to be uninhabitable due to its past. And similarly to the Hollywood portrayal,
kills his whole family? Doesn't that bother you?
Well, yeah, sure, but
they felt that
houses don't have memories.
But the Lutzes' dream home would quickly become one of a nightmare. The events that soon followed would eventually be known to the public through the work of author Jay Anson, who wrote and captured the events in his infamous book, The Amityville Horror. Prior to moving into the house, George Lutz was an active businessman, but immediately after moving in, he underwent a sudden personality change, becoming sluggardly, chilled, and cranky. He found himself waking up at 3:15 a.m. every night and was unable to go back to sleep. Come to find out, it was at this time that the DeFeo murders took place. One night, he saw his 5-year-old daughter Missy standing by her bedroom window, with the outline of a pig's face with red eyes behind her. He quickly ran inside her room, only to find his daughter sound asleep. Shortly thereafter, Missy began speaking of a new friend she was playing with, a pig named Jody. In another chilling instance, George looked down at his wife Kathy while she was sleeping and saw her face had changed and seemingly aged her as if she was a 90-year-old woman. Apparently, part of the house's effect on Kathy was that she would go through periods where she aged unnaturally fast and appeared to be another person altogether. This was reportedly also witnessed by her mother.
Okay, so we have some really weird stuff happening here. Now, the daughter ends up with some imaginary friend with a pig face, Piggy, and which is apparently some sort of a ghostly entity that the father saw in a vision of his daughter standing downstairs in the outline of the pig face. That the wife begins unnaturally aging when he looks at her when she's sleeping at times, and it comes and goes. She looks like she's a 90-year-old woman. There's some creepy stuff happening here, and so they just moved in, and this is just really starting. And this is we're talking Amityville Horror. If you guys have actually seen this movie, if you haven't, this is based on a true story. Again, there's some contention, of course, like all these stories, these ghost stories. If there's something to this, or people made this up for publicity or what have you. But let's keep going. Like I said, let's get through this and make sure we get the full story in. And so we're talking ghosts tonight. Just want to interject here real fast. And we're taking your ghost calls. So if you guys have ghost stories or you have a take on this, what about Amityville? What about Poltergeist? Energy? Whatever this is, have you seen a ghost? Do you believe in this stuff? Do you believe there's a way to keep them out? We talked about salt and sage a little bit. Prayers and holy water. Is this stuff real, or is this stuff a figment of the imagination? That's really what we're talking about tonight, and we're doing it through some poltergeist scary stories. And this one may take the taco because it's kind of sits in our subconscious, right? Because it's kind of modernish. You can still go buy that house right now. You can go maybe not buy it. I'm not sure if it's for sale, but you can drive by there and you can see where this stuff supposedly happened. And there's no doubt that the murders happened there. That's definitely confirmed through police reports and photographs and witnesses and the rest of this. So it is a real thing, at least as far as that goes. So let's hear some more of this. Again, we're looking for your call tonight. If you got some ghost stories, or you got a thought on poltergeists, or this Amityville story, or whatever else is happening, 702-957-1037, and click the Discord link. You can find both at troubledminds.org. And let's keep rolling. Amityville Horror Part 4 action.
Strange things continued to happen, such as doors ripped off hinges, a room full of flies in the middle of winter, cloven hoofprints in the snow just outside their doors, green slime oozing on the walls, and the discovery of a secret room in the basement that was nowhere on the house's original blueprint. This room was painted blood red and was only big enough for two people to sit intimately close. It also gave off an intermittent odor. George even tried to take their family dog down there. Instead of the attempt,
he just wouldn't go in. He backed away. It's the only time I can recall him ever cowering from something.
One night, George heard the sound of a band playing downstairs, and when he went into the living room to investigate, there was no one there. But the rug had been rolled up and the furniture had been moved as if someone had made space for dancing. The priest they enlisted to help them also experienced a variety of strange phenomena and illness after getting involved with the house. The Amityville horror author Jay Anson said meeting the priest solidified his decision to write the book, saying,
"Because it was corroboration. This was actually happening to someone. This was not an exorcist or an omen. From there, I started to create the book."
On January 14th, 1976, after just living 28 days in their new home, a particularly scary night drove the Lutzes to suddenly pack their bags, leaving the rest of their belongings behind, never to return again. They didn't expect to leave forever that day. According to a 2005 interview with George Lutz,
"We didn't get up to leave that morning. You need to understand that. This was our house. We lived there. When we left, we didn't know we weren't coming back. We didn't know that what we were leaving behind, we would never see again."
Their belongings at the house, according to a Washington Post article from 1979, were to be auctioned off later.
Okay, so this gets real, right? We got the proverbial room in the basement that's it's not on the original floor plans. You go down there and it's just painted red, wall to wall, and the ceiling and everything. It's barely big enough for two people to sit very close to each other inside of this little tiny room. The dog is deathly terrified of this room, won't go anywhere near it, and is really not afraid of anything else. Things start happening with flies randomly showing up and landing on their kids, or the slime on the walls, or I guess you could call that ectoplasm, right, from the Ghostbusters, that type of thing. Which supposedly back in the old days of the spiritualism, that was a real phenomenon, so they say. Which we should probably get to that at some point and talk about that on this show as well. But that's what's happening here, right? So this is really what's going down, and they have witnesses. They had a priest go in here and try and cleanse the house, and the priest now has things happen to him as well. So crazy stuff here. Again, it starts with the murder, and then they move in, and then it's just one thing after another. So let's plow through this and just finish this up real fast, and then we'll get to the rest of this. Just talking about ghosts tonight, guys. Let's talking about the Amityville horror right now. Excuse me, which we're about halfway through, so we'll get to that in just a sec and finish it up. But we're looking for ghost stories from you. So if you want to type them in the chat, I'll read them. We had some pretty good ones so far, and some callers, some fantastic callers so far that have given us some ghost stories of things they've seen, instances they've maybe run into some weird energies or things they couldn't explain. And that's what we're looking for from you. If you have some stories you want to kind of get off your chest, you don't have to tell me your real name. 702-957-1037. Click the Discord link. I know that you can find both the phone number and the Discord at troubleminds.org. And I know this isn't typically the topic where you kind of want to go, like I would say, around the water cooler and just tell ghost stories to your colleagues. Might get you fired. so this is a spot for you if you want to do that. Looking for that, and we're going to keep on rolling here with Amityville Horror. Otherwise, and we got some other ghost stories to tell, and to get into maybe Poltergeist as the curse. Everybody remember that old movie with Carol Ann? Stay away from the light, Carol Ann. Anybody remember that? Yeah, we're going to talk about that as well. So we're going to keep on trucking here with Amityville. One more time, 702-957-1037, talking about ghosts, poltergeists, things that go bump in the night. Do you believe this stuff is real? Think it's a bunch of hogwash? Or what's the deal? Click the Discord link, troubleminds.org. You can find the phone number and the Discord link there. Let's go back to Amityville Horror. Let's see. Let's play this clip and action.
The Lutzes shared the supernatural phenomena that they experienced in their time living in the Amityville house with Anson, who eventually turned their true story into an instant bestseller in 1977. The LA Times hailed it as fascinating and frightening. Some critics have said that its popularity reflected the rocky political climate in the United States at the time, which included rampant inflation, rising interest rates, and a massive oil shortage, all signaling a depressed economy. As the narrative unfolds, the reader also sees the family struggling as their business is impacted by the failing economy, as well as an IRS investigation into the family's taxes at the worst possible moment, making everything in the book all too familiar to readers who were living a similar reality at the time. By aligning something supernatural with the current events of American life, the book turned out to be very relatable. It was also said to have exploited contemporary popular trends of the pulp horror genre, including a family patriarch who is drinking and mean and out of his normal character, as seen in The Shining, enlisting or forcing a priest to help them against his will or better judgment, like The Exorcist, as well as excessive vomiting, also in The Exorcist, and even the setting of a northeastern beach town, like Jaws. When asked if Anson himself had experienced anything strange while writing the book, he said,
"Leave it, no."
Though he did note that he had a heart attack after writing it, which he felt was unrelated.
"Blame it on my smoking, my idiot lifestyle. I'm not going to blame it on this."
However, Anson did say that some of the people who had read the original manuscript or had early copies in their possession did have strange things happen to them. 3 of his friends, along with one of their children, had separate brushes with death. One was fatal. The first had a fire break out in his car as he was driving back to the publisher with the manuscript. The second friend and his son nearly drowned in their car while a copy of the manuscript was in their trunk. Reportedly, when the car trunk was opened, the only thing that was still dry inside was the manuscript, despite the fact that it had only been held in a clasp envelope.
Okay, so now we have the individuals that wrote the book here. So the Keegans, or no, what are the names? I'm sorry, I said Keegan. I see you there, Keegan. I'm going to read your story in just a sec. See, my mind's juggling 4 things at a time. So the story here is that these folks, they had a murder happen in 1974, the DeFeo murders. 1976 rolls around, and we have people move into the home. Let's see. What is it? Their name is, not the Cromarties. They've got a whole list of people who've lived in this house. Hold on, let's see. Let's get the names right here. All right, so, okay, 2 years later, George and Kathy Lutz, that's the family that moved in. So then they start becoming haunted, basically. It's these things start happening to them. There's this bizarre red room. Things start happening more and more, but everybody's freaking out because their daughter's talking to some invisible spirit. Their dog's scared as hell. There's just a lot happening here. That the wife is aging like incredibly fast. It's just all bad, and I believe the husband is starting to go insane, like slowly insane. If you're to believe the movie, right? So again, dramatization, of course, which is all part of this, but that's what's happening here. We're talking about the Amityville Horror, and then we have they get out, right? They expect that when they leave, they'll go back at some point, but they're too terrified to go back, and so it ends up getting press, and then the individual that writes the story for them, that turns it into a book, actually starts having things happen to him now. And pretty bizarre things happen with the manuscript, like the car goes underwater, the manuscript's in the trunk of the Amityville haunting, and so when it comes back up, the only thing dry in the trunk is the manuscript itself. Things like this, near-death brushes. There's some things happening here, right? So that's what's happening so far, and as a couple more parts, and then we'll finish this up. But we're just talking ghost stories tonight. We're talking Poltergeist. Is this stuff real? Is it not? What do you guys believe? Again, no judgment here. If you think it's bullshit, that's fine. If you think it's not, that's fine too. That's why we do this and kind of ask these questions and look at some of these stories and kind of where they came from, right? And it's surprising sometimes how deep these stories go back in time. And this one isn't super old, but it's still right. There's a particular place you can actually go drive by there. Like I said, you can lay your eyes on the house. It's still there, as far as I'm aware. Maybe somebody's living there. I don't know about that right now. Let's finish this up. Amityville Horror, talking ghosts tonight. And if you want to tell a ghost story, we're looking to talk to you. So one more time, 702-957-1037. Click the Discord link, and let's keep going with Amityville Horror Part 6, action.
And the third friend, who Manson had given the first 2 chapters to read, died in a fire the first night she received them. And in the remains of the fire, the manuscript was found in perfect condition. There have been several film adaptations of the story, including a 1979 version starring James Brolin. I'm coming apart! And a 2005 version starring Ryan Reynolds, both actors taking on the role of George Lutz. The book and both movies are loyal to the setting and the true backstory of the house where a grisly mass murder had occurred. Both films were said to deviate from the original story slightly, to add to the terror of the hauntings. Such as the addition of a babysitter in both films, who watched the kids while George and Kathy, in the 1979 version, went to Kathy's brother's wedding.
I don't want to go to bed. I want to play with Jody.
In the 2005 version, they just had a night out.
We keep being back here.
In the book, the entire family attended the wedding.
I got you the first time.
The 1979 version also begins with the murders, like the book, but in a way that features the house itself as the haunted vessel.
Hughes told police he heard voices coming from within the house, telling him to...
In contrast to the 2005 version, which portrayed the murder victims in a way that would focus on their ghosts, rather than the house.
Look what Ronnie did.
Another thing that is noticeably different between the book and the movies is that they all establish slightly different versions of what happens to the priest, all of whom have different names. In the book, he hears a voice yelling at him to get out, and then experiences flu-like symptoms when he interacts any further with the Lutzes, ultimately giving up on helping them to essentially go on vacation. But in the movies, there are physical effects on him, like when he is attacked in the house by supernaturally controlled flies, and ultimately goes blind.
Okay, so now we're talking about the dramatizations of this and all the things that happen. 2 different versions this movie made, books written, internet as spawns. It turns into a thing of itself, and it becomes larger than itself, even, right? So yeah. So back to one of our very first episodes, probably in the first 10 we talked about is the internet haunted. And so talking about these things, is it possible that maybe whatever resides in Amityville somehow is able to creep through this digital darkness, as I like to call it, and maybe visit you in your home, right? Do you think this thing is possible? Again, right, are ghosts or poltergeists stuck to one particular spot? Do they haunt items or places? Or this is what we're talking about tonight. We got one more clip from the real Amityville horror story here. And most people are familiar with this because it is one of the most famous hauntings ever, at least in modern times. And that's what we're talking about. But we are looking for phone calls from you. If you have a ghost story you like to tell, or like to comment on Amityville or anything else, some of the stuff we've talked about tonight, whether this is energy or electromagnetism, or whether, like I said, after Halloween, the veil gets more thin and the spirits are able to visit. This type of thing, like that, this has all been said, right? This is all believed by many people. And so just curious what you guys think about this. And if you want to comment, 702-957-1037. That's a Las Vegas area code. You can join the Discord and find the phone number at troubledminds.org. And let's keep rolling. One more clip here of Amityville Horror. And then And then we got some other stuff to talk about, some other interesting things to talk about, and some actually good stories to read real quick from the chat as well. So I'll catch up on chat in just a second. Let me get to this story so we don't just ruin the narrative with 5 stories in between. Last clip, Amityville, action.
Hello, Kathy. Father Delaney, there's something very important.
On the whole, the 2005 version was said to make more things up entirely. And the 1979 film features certain things that happened in the book that the other film excluded, but with less context. Apart from the mystery surrounding Ronald DeFeo Jr. hearing voices that led him to kill his entire family in 1974, and the supernatural phenomena experienced by the Lutzes in 1975, there have been no other known stories or accounts of hauntings in the Ocean Avenue house. According to the Washington Post, and realty firm Coldwell Banker Harbor Light owner Jerry O'Neill, the house has been owned by 4 different families since the murders in 1974. Its address was changed by the request of a previous owner who lived in the house following the Lutzes. The last time the house was listed for sale was in the summer of 2016, and it sold for $605,000 in February 2017, according to Zillow. Before that, the house was sold in 2010 for $950,000. While there are some debates on whether or not the Lutz's story was true, the fact remains that a mass murder of an entire family did indeed take place on that property. That is undeniable. The supernatural has been known to turn skeptics into believers. So whether it's a trinket, a piece of clothing, or an entire house, be careful what you decide to acquire, because you may end up with far more than you bargained for.
Which is good advice, as we saw in the chat there. Justin said he had a clock from his grandparents, and it ended up having some sort of haunting with him. All right, let's go to Keegan has a good story here in chat. If you guys want a ghost story read, I will read it in chat. Just drop it in there if you want to call. Here's the phone number. I'm going to leave it up as I read some of these. Just kind of catching up with chat here. So right now the question is, what do you think about this Amityville stuff? Do you think there's something to it? Is there the house actually haunted? Do you think it's weird to me that just initial thoughts of this for myself, that there was this haunting like pretty much right after the murders, and then they've had 4 owners since, and it's been kind of quiet. I think I wonder about that. So anyway, here we go. So Keegan says this in Facebook. What's up, Keegan? Says, I'm Canadian and Aboriginal. My story is short. I used to live on a reservation about a mile from a small town. Where I grew up, we were surrounded by trees and a highway. Our driveway has a yard light that is dimly lit, has a orange hue. I'm outside on the porch having a cigarette at around 1:30 a.m. and it's dark. Even with the yard light, I just happened to look to the right of me, and there was an opening in the trees. I saw a dark figure, all black in the shape of a human. No real definitions I could make out, and it raised arms above its head. I threw my cigarette and I bolted inside, locked the door. I never went back out to check what it was. I believe what I saw was a shadow person. There you go, right? And so I guess definitions in this realm are slippery. And so shadow person, ghost, poltergeist, alien, who knows, right? I think that's part of why we have this this question here. And yeah, no sweat, Keegan. Don't worry about putting it up there. I'm getting the stuff and reading the stuff. It's no problem at all. You're good. Thank you for sharing. Peter, what's up, says, you look at the story of the Omen. While they were making the film The Omen, Gregory Peck's son shot himself. And flying over London, a plane crashed while they were making The Omen, and the very first, this is a fact, people died in the making of that film. And I've heard that, so we're going to talk about another film in just a sec here, where some other things happened. So there's again, right? How much dare we chalk up to coincidence, and how much do we think that coincidence at some point falls by the wayside? I think that's really the question here when you're talking about these sorts of things. Okay, over to the other chat. Catching up, guys. Again, if you want to be part of the show, there's the phone number. Read in the chat, and some good stuff here. Good conversation going on. Keep the chat coming, guys. Appreciate it a lot. Let's see. Tons of good stuff. Let's see. Where are we at? Let's see. There was some good comments in here that I missed. Okay. Kate, what's up, Kate? Thanks for being here. Says, I believe that a lot of happenings around our immediate vicinity is caused by an energy we omit when we are emotional, such as stress and anger. Just my opinion and feeling. And there you go. I think maybe human emotion has something to play in this for sure. Whether you think it's BS or not. Let's see. What else do we got? Justin says, Kate, you were totally right. The way we ask, the way we get answered, it is all valid on an energy level. And I agree. I agree that there's more that meets the eye, right? With the energy, the evil eye, this type of thing. You know how you're kind of know you're being watched when you're not being when you can't see, like somebody's watching your back and you know you're being watched. Like there's something there. There's something. You know, we talked about that recently on the news show that we do an entire news show 5 days a week. If you guys don't know, on Twitch, and we were talking about that scientifically. They were trying to qualify that somehow, but it is a thing that people detect when they're being watched, even if they can't see directly. You know, so there's definitely some sort of sixth sense going on, or some sort of gaze happening where there's like a power in the gaze when you're looking at somebody. So there's some things here. There's some things at play that we just don't know yet. Again, like somebody said in the chat there, what do you say? Quantum entanglement, quantum immortality, spooky action at a distance. I mean, there's a lot of stuff here that we really don't know what the hell's going on. So like Kelly said when he called earlier, you have at some point all energy becomes mass, and so that's they're trying to explain that with the Higgs boson and the I think it's the Higgs field they call it. So I mean, there's a lot of science here that's kind of trying to maybe start to agree with some of this in a roundabout way, but I mean the real answer is we just don't know. Of course, we just don't know. Kate says, myself and my sisters are very in tune and perceptive to stuff you can't always see. Been called a witch on many occasions. Well, you're not the only one. I've heard that from people in my family as well. Let's see. Okay, what else do we got? Let's see. Good stuff here. Let's see. Justin says, deep inside we know the answer. What we need is getting grounded, sober up, and clean up all the mess from days of yore. Well, I don't know. I think that's a lot of days of yore to clean up. That's a lot of millions of years to clean up, man. But yeah, I'm with you. What's up, Tamron from South Africa? How are you? Thanks for being here tonight. It says, they say that a poltergeist stems from a human's anger and wrath. And that's an interesting thought, right? Back to that emotion thing, back to the some sort of emotion sort of transcends maybe time and space somehow, right? I guess you could say that, right? Speaking scientifically, it's like Matthew McConaughey, right? What was he in that movie Interstellar, right? And he was saying in the movie, like part of the concept was that the notion of love, or the notion of emotions in particular, seem to transcend time and space, right? You could love somebody that's passed on, and that love still exists for them, even though they are no longer here in the same realm with us. So it ends up in that case that it is a bond that transcends that time and space. So yeah, maybe we're talking about the same thing with the emotional connection that is somehow part of that consciousness, right? That we talk about all the time on this show. Pretty good stuff. Great takes, guys. Let's see. Justin says, I can confirm that the black poltergeist I saw was full of anger. So yeah, maybe that's it. Maybe that's what we're talking about here. Again, I don't have the answers. You guys know me. I'm not here trying to convince anybody of anything. Believe whatever you want to believe. We're just kind of having a discussion. We're looking at why some people believe these things. We're looking at some of the stories and trying to kick it and have a good time. It's really what this is all about. So here we go. If you want to be part of the show, and we're looking for ghost stories tonight, I got some more to tell yet. But ghosts, poltergeists, dark energy, light energy, whatever it happens to be, you think it's electromagnetism, whatever it is, if you think it's bullshit, that's fine too. I want to hear from you. 702-957-1037. That's the Las Vegas area code. If you want to join the Discord, that's a free chat and voice client, and you can find the Discord link at troubledminds.org. Just click the link on top. It'll give you an invite, and you're in. And then just join the caller queue. We'll put you on the show. Pretty easy. You can have it on a phone or your PC or Mac or whatever. So there we go. All right. So just looking to read some chat. You're good, Penny. Welcome back, Penny. Okay, Keegan, I'll catch you guys later. I have tons of different stories and sightings and UFOs and Sasquatch on the reservation as well. Hey, love to hear it, Keegan. I appreciate you sharing the story. We're going to have 2 weeks from tonight, we're going to have some folks that have written books about Bigfoot. If you want to hang out and something to look forward to, that's happening. That's booked, confirmed today. We're going to have some interesting people that have been on Coast to Coast AM, if you guys know the show. Probably the biggest show in the paranormal realm, radio show. They're going to be on this show, and they're going to be talking Bigfoot. So good stuff. Okay, so let's continue trucking here, talking about Good old ghosts. Good old ghosties, right? The good old ghost stories. All right. So we just got done with what do you call it? It is Amityville, the Amityville Horror House. Okay. Now somebody mentioned the movie The Omen. Okay, and that they had some people dying while they were filming this thing. So we've got another story to tell real fast, but I'll finish up with that. But let's get to this. Let's go to this one. This is from theweek.com, and there's a real story here behind the legendary Poltergeist curse. You guys remember this movie? Back in the early 80s, there was a movie called The Poltergeist. Remember, like I said, Carol Ann, stay away from the light. Remember all that? So we have this. There was some really terrible things that happened to the people that starred in this movie, and it got people talking about some sort of curse that was somehow stuck with the production of this movie. If you guys haven't seen that, so here we go. Here we go. This is. Let's read a little bit of this from. This is an urban legend, of course. You can't really confirm or deny these things as they happen, because, like I said, how much you want to chalk up to coincidence and how much do you not? That's up to you. Let's read this. The original Poltergeist is famous for traumatizing children who grew up in the early 1980s. And today's Poltergeist remake seems primed to do the same for children in 2015. But over the years, 1982's Poltergeist and its two sequels have grown legendary for another reason. The whisperings of a curse that led to the real-life deaths of cast members. So here's the story. What is the real story? The subject of a curse likely stems from the subject of Poltergeist, a family tormented by ghosts who were enraged at being disturbed, and the bare fact that 4 cast members from the Poltergeist series died within 6 years of the first movie's release. That's a lot of people, right? That's again, most of these in these cases are young people, healthy people, and yes. So here we go. So here's the 4 people that actually passed away within 6 years of the first Poltergeist movie being released, and here we go. Number 1. Dominique Dune, who played elder daughter Dana Freeling in the original Poltergeist, died in 1982 at age 22. She was strangled by her ex-boyfriend, slipped into a coma, and died several days later. Pretty terrifying, yeah? All right, so there's more. The second one, Julian Beck, who played the villainous spirit Reverend Henry Kane in Poltergeist 2, The Other Side, died in 1985 at age 60. He was battling stomach cancer while shooting his role in Poltergeist 2 and eventually succumbed to the disease before the film's release. All right, so he actually passed away before that came out. And if you guys remember him, he's actually a really terrifying figure. I see you, Tim. We'll pull you in just a sec. Let me finish these other 2 here. So Will Sampson, who played the heroic spirit Taylor in Poltergeist 2, The Other Side, died in 1987 at age 53. 6 weeks before his death, he had received a heart-lung transplant. He died of complications related to his condition, both before and after the surgery. Now this one, Heather O'Rourke, who played Carol Ann Freeling. Remember? Stay away from the light, Carol Ann? That young lady. She died in 1988 at age 12. An illness, originally thought to be the flu, turned out to be a bowel obstruction. She died of septic shock on the operating table during a surgery intended to remove the obstruction. So there you go. There's the real story behind the legendary Poltergeist curse. Okay, but the thing is, right? You what do you believe? Like I said, how much is there a curse behind such things? Is it possible, or is how much do we chalk up to coincidence? I think that's the trick here. I was just about to bring Tamron into the go Tam. There we go. All right, so we got Tamron from South Africa. We're bringing her onto the show. Welcome, Tam. Bam, you are on Troubled Minds with Mike. How you doing tonight? Or not? We're not. Hello. Test 1 2. Are you there?
Hi.
Good morning. Good evening.
How are you?
I'm fantastic. How you doing?
Morning.
Morning. Good morning.
8:36.
Yeah. Good. Good evening. Good morning. Hello, hello. What do you think about the stuff we're talking about? Do you believe in ghosts?
Hey. Hey, of course. I mean, it's good enough. All the thousands and millions of people over the long years has been around. Could you not believe it? Where do all the people who died believe in heaven and hell? Where all the atheists go? Where do they run? Where do unfinished business go? They don't just go. So you're either in purgatory or you know where the purgatory is. Being a ghost, who knows? We don't really have to believe in ghosts. Should have had.
Yeah, I think that's interesting that whether the purgatory and the energy as it passes, just like Kelly said. Kelly called in earlier and he was kind of discussing the how energy, even all mass before it's mass is energy, just pure energy, and so. You don't have to be so to kind of tack onto your point. You don't have to be religious at all whatsoever to really realize that it's possible for consciousness to move on in some other form, in some form of energy or some other thing. So, yeah, right. So, I mean, I guess maybe ghost is the wrong word here. It's some sort of a spirit or it's something we haven't even named yet. I guess that's really the kind of nail it down to one thing, huh?
Yeah, well, pretty much. I mean, I suppose whether you are, whether you're atheist or whether you be, you, like, how do you really know where we go? I mean, I know that, I know I would love to go to heaven, but how do I know the journey is so do I come back as a ghost or do I come as a family member, spiritual realm? Do I go to Venus? There, you never know. Everything.
Yeah, there's a lot here. Weird how we get into these weird discussions all the time, right? How it ends up larger than the scope, the consciousness, the soul. We always end up in places like this, which is okay. It's fine because where else do you get conversations like this? That's okay. Could you do me a favor and maybe speak up just a little bit louder? I don't think your internet's cutting out. I think maybe you have like a noise filter or noise gate that's cutting out.
Okay, so if I'm going to just connect to
Still trying. It's a little bit of cutting out. Sorry, go ahead. What's going on?
Again.
Well, I don't know. Just trying to get a good connection here. Hey, we're 6,000 miles away from each other. It's to be expected. But yeah, so you are cutting out just a smidge. Okay, so we're going to try something, I guess. All right, so talking about this, we're talking about all the things, right? Weird, right? You start talking about poltergeists and spirits and Amityville, and the conversation goes to, of course, energy and the human soul and consciousness, right? It ends up these even in the UFO realm, we kind of end up in these situations. So. Yeah, well, exactly. What's up, Larry says, they're here. Exactly, like Carol Ann, stay away from the light. If you guys ever remember that, like that woman's voice, I should have got those clips to play some of those clips from that movie. It was terrifying. Like, if you remember that movie, it was early 80s. It scared the shit out of me. I was really little when I saw it, but it was, yeah. Whoa, Derek, what's up? Come on, Derek. Really? Okay, let's see. Tim, if you want to jump back in, I'm not sure if you're trying to fix some stuff here. Put up the extra tinfoil antennas. There you go. Let's get you back in. See if we can get this fixed. Testing 1 2. Test 1 2.
Can you hear me now?
A little better. Keep talking.
Is that better?
Definitely better. I don't know what you did, but I think we're good.
I'm not moving.
Okay, don't move. All right. So ghosts for sure. You think they're real? Yeah, maybe we're just misclassifying them. We're talking about energy and spirits and souls, and it's a completely different thing, or maybe it's the same thing entirely. You tell me.
And don't shoot me. Never seen the Amityville, but there's a good reason. I don't watch movies that have poltergeists or demons or things. I watch stupid shit like Teen Wolf or Grimm. more cryptozoology because I'm so afraid the energy within that movie, I don't know, you never know, comes through using energy of technology or into me, near me. And I've read that somewhere once, a very long time, from some professor. And ever since I read what he said, maybe used to.
Yeah, sort of back to that. Back to like the internet is haunted. Like again, like way back in the day, like within the first 10 shows, Frank and I were talking about, is the internet haunted? And is it possible to read like a scary story, like some of this creepypasta stuff, the fan fiction stuff, that they're really referencing demons? Is really what they're talking about. So the conversation then, and as it stands now, is it possible for that energy somehow to the negative energy from that demonic entity or whatever it happens to be, to come through the technology and to find you and maybe even in some little way affect you and make negative parts of your life more prominent? I guess that's probably what we're talking about, huh?
Yeah, it could very much be, because energy and it needs internet to what get transferred with, which is it all energy itself. So it's into, and it's to come into your energy, and whether, just say you're depressed or you're angry or whatever, it matters even. So do I want to put them on?
Yeah, no. So yeah, if it could bring you down. I think that's the point there. You're cutting in and out a little bit there, so I was just kind of taking the reference of what you're trying to say. But yeah, I mean, like you said, if you're a little bit depressed, you don't want that, because it will add, right? It will add to that and will kind of bring you a little bit further down. I'm with you, and I don't know, I think that's why I was asking early on the show a little bit, if anybody out there knows or believes that ways to maybe protect yourself from these. Like, are there actual ways, like they say, sprinkling salt, or saying prayers in holy water, or saging the area, like this type of thing? Like, some people really, really believe this stuff. And I was asking and wondering if anybody knows if there's any credence to this, or if it's just old wives' tales. What do you think about that?
Okay, you must just tell me if I'm cutting badly, and I'll just text it. But so about a few years ago, there was the California fires. Do you remember that? Years ago, or was it? Yeah, 2 years ago.
California, what happened there?
Fires.
Oh, the fires. Yep. Happens every year, even. But yes.
Okay, but that big one, really, really big one. Okay, so there was this guy who put it. I think it was stories on Reddit or 4chan, and he said the most bizarre. So he's into the negative. He's like a what's the male version of a warlock. Anyway, so he was this guy, and what he did is with the fires that were happening. Imagine in his mind's eye, he did a big circle around his fire, and he pictured it so deeply that on an emotional level, and he just did anything and everything to do just to cover his home with this imaginary border the fires could. And so his home, everything.
It actually worked, huh? It actually saved his home from burning.
He said, there's no attached. So
yeah, I hadn't heard that. So the story is like this, just to catch everybody up here. That a couple years ago, California wildfires, a warlock, a male witch of sorts, willed into being somehow a barrier around his home as the fires were closing in, and was able to save his home from the fires, just to fill in from some of the splashy going on there. But yeah, I mean, I hadn't heard that. And again, right, like you said, it's how do you confirm that? How do you verify these things? Who knows? But do you believe that stuff's possible? Do you think that's a thing, huh?
Whether it is or isn't, let's learn it. So if it is, let's take us more scientific. If you want to beat energy, you've got to play fire with it, is using it. So if I don't going to do that, if a demonic entity is coming into my I know he's all about it and a negative force. I'm going to use my good energy to stop. So sometimes what I do is if I'm reading something very hairy on internet, I will picture in my mind's eye a glowing protective orb around PC, so nothing. I know for some of you out there it sounds stupid, but that's how paranoid. Because I've seen this stuff. Don't want that ever again.
Okay, that makes sense. So it's kind of willing that barrier around you to that sort of protection. I don't know. Like, I don't think it's absurd to believe. Yeah, I'm here. I'm listening. So I don't know if you can hear me. I guess my connection to you is kind of choppy too. But okay. So just like she was saying, like I don't think it's absurd to believe that if there's negative energy that you could stave it off with positive energy. I just don't think it's absurd to believe that. So anyway, right? If there's one, there's got to be the other. There's got to be a way to keep it off you, right? Like, that's why I was asking about the sage and the salt and these things. I just don't know. I'll try and get Tam back in here in a sec. Peter says, Professor Heinrich said they made me, quote, "It's all in the mind. It's just one gas," but that wasn't true. Spirits exist all around. This, there, and another round. It's not smoke gas. It's not swamp. Littlewoods, he was saying spirits and ghosts exist. I'm not sure who you're referring to, Professor Heinrich. Is that Project Blue Book, or is that somebody else? I have no idea. This is the UFO show after all, so we could be talking about all kinds of people. Definitely. Okay, so we're talking about ghosts tonight. We're talking about poltergeists, talking about this negative energy, positive energy. Is this a thing? Do you believe it? If not, why? And is it... at least it's fun talking about it. I think that's the question here. Let's try and get Tam back on, and let's see if we can get a good connection. We're praying. Good vibes for good connection. Testing 1 2. Welcome back.
Yeah, sorry. You know what it is? There's a massive storm.
Is it?
And
okay.
we have electric storms, so talking about energy.
Yeah, right.
Did I bring that shit here?
Exactly. A little bit of energy going on, a little bit of energy action, too much energy going on at the same time. Yeah, I mean, let's get a final thought just because we're a little bit choppy, and then we'll finish this up. We'll get you on. I'm dying to have you on the show, Tam, when we actually have a good connection. It's happened before, so I know it's possible. What's up?
Yeah. Okay, so I'll do the show one day, but yeah, our ghosts are very real. I just want everyone to know I had very experiences, and I don't denounce it for people who are going. Don't. It's okay. You that type of person who needs a ghost to come and give you pretty much 5.5 for you to believe, which is who you are. Ghosts are for some of us. So
there you go. Don't ask for terrible things to come teach you more terrible things. I can agree with that 100%. I can agree. Thank you again, Tam, for hanging out. Thanks for calling in. I'm gonna move you out. We'll get you on another time when you're fantastically super crisp with the connection. Today, not so good. Weather that storm. Good energy back to you. Okay.
Okay. Thanks to you too. Cheers.
Thanks.
Bye.
Appreciate it, Tam. All right, there you go. So if you guys want to be part of the show, we're talking about poltergeists, we're talking about ghosts, we're talking about all the rest of this. And do you believe it? Do you not? It's okay. Again, we're agnostic in all of the things. We're non-denominational in all of the things. You can be any political leaning to be here. You can be any religion. It doesn't matter. The conversation is a conversation, and those division points do not exist in this realm right now. That's part of why we do it this way. You can give me a fake name. We can do all that stuff. It doesn't matter. But right, it's funny that you can get people together. Something that's so contentious as the soul or consciousness or ghosts or aliens, right? And we all believe different things, like in different levels and degrees of these different things. But somehow, some way, we find a way to come together and be able to talk about them and not hate each other. Definitely good stuff. So let's read some more chat. Got one more. So let's actually go back to this real fast to the poltergeist. So what Tam was saying now, and I get this entirely. So if you bring this negative energy to you from these stories, Okay, whether it's the poltergeist, maybe you are bringing these curses into your life somehow, right? Maybe it's larger than us. Maybe we don't know how to stop it when it happens. And so here we go. Here's another one. Let me read a few of these. This is from Mental Floss, and this is 16 spooky facts about Poltergeist. And this is the movie again from the early 80s. And unfortunately, that little girl right there, the little blonde girl, she passed away when she was 12. I mean, that's what we're talking about. It's was this cursed? Was this not? Is this a terrible coincidences that 4 people within 6 years of the original filming actually passed away? So here we go. Let's see. What else is there? No. Okay, never mind. Never mind. So here we go. Here's another one. I'm going to link these if you guys want to read these. I'm not going to read this stuff. Some of those points are good. I'm not going to comb through them right now. It's too late in the night, if you know what I'm saying. It's just too late to go picking through these facts. 16 spooky facts about Poltergeist. Linking them for you guys. You guys can go through it if you're interested. If you're not, that's okay too. I completely understand. Sometimes you don't feel like going through some of this because some of them are like, come on, man. Really, man? And here, I'll tell you why. This is why I saw it and was like, no, come on. Stephen King was initially asked to write the script. I don't care. It's not really that spooky, is it? Okay, anyway, there's one more here. So here's the Poltergeist curse. Hollywood's Poltergeist curse after 4 film stars died mysteriously, including 80s child star Heather O'Rourke. And somebody mentioned her name in the chat a little ways back. And there we go. That's what we're talking about, right? Do you believe this stuff is possible, or do you think it's we're talking about coincidence and it was unfortunate, tragic timing is what we're looking at here? Tamron says, I think this is why riots are so dangerous, not only because of the violence, but also because of the anger of all the people becoming a living thing, in essence. And I agree with you there. It's the mob mentality, right? You get enough folks together with enough hate, and it definitely transcends just the group of people. I definitely see that. Okay, so let's we got one more story here. Let's talk about this real fast, and then we'll finish this up. Again, we're talking about Ghost Tonight's Poltergeist. We got some good stories, and we got one more to talk about. We did Amityville. We did the Great Amherst Mystery, which was a haunting back in 1878, and we have another one more, which is this. Hold on. Just one moment, but we're also taking final calls here for the next 15 minutes or so. If you guys want to be on the show and tell us your ghost story or whatever you believe, just given the things we've talked about tonight. I mean, this isn't really evidence, but this is some of the folklore and some of the things that have been talked about in recent times, right? The Amherst Mystery, 1878, 1879, the Poltergeist Curse, the Amityville Horror. I mean, there's some things here, right? There's some things here that could actually be something, or maybe nothing at all, right? I think that's again agnostic, and all of those things. You decide. We're just here talking about it because I think it's an important thing to talk about, because you don't get this everywhere, do you? You don't. All right. So at least I don't. So here we go. Now this is from our good buddy Marcus Louth wrote this. He was on the show a long time ago with Frank and I, and he writes all kinds of UFO stuff and. Actual hauntings, and right here, conspiracy, UFOs, aliens, space, cryptozoology, supernatural. He writes it all. A prolific writer here, and I draw on his stuff from time to time for inspiration, because he has such a breadth of knowledge here that I just go check and go, okay, all right, I know what the show's about tonight. And as many of you know, when I did the show this afternoon, I had no idea what the show's about tonight. So here we go. You get inspiration. And this is actually another one. There's a haunting called the St. Catherine's Poltergeist. And this was at 237 Church Street. And so this is in St. Catherine's in Canada. So again, we're back to Canada. So although it is little spoken of today outside paranormal circles, an apparent poltergeist incident in February of 1970 in St. Catherine's in Canada would, for a time, captivate much of the North American continent, with newspapers and news channels in both Canada and the United States running features on the case. So there we go. That's what we're talking about. I linked it if you guys want to follow along with this. But let's play the clip, because they'll tell the story much more eloquently than I will. So let's see. How about this one right here?
In February 1970, the press was having a field day reporting inexplicable phenomena happening at 237 Church Street in St. Catharines, Ontario. John and Barbara Page lived in a modest apartment at this address with their 11-year-old son, Peter. A few days before, Constable Robert Crawford had been the first police officer to visit the Pages and fill out a report on the incidents that were taking place.
In 1970, I was serving as a police officer for the city of St. Catharines and heard other officers who I knew quite well discussing the fact that they'd been sent to a house where they had seen furniture moving without any assistance.
According to the police report, it began with a series of scratching noises and knocking inside the walls. Then, furniture started moving around, and doors would open by themselves without anyone touching them. Plastered walls were even warped, as if they had swelled from the inside. The Pages seemed to be dealing with a case of a real poltergeist.
A poltergeist, you should remember, has no appearance. A poltergeist is a ghost or spirit, if you wish, which is known by its effects, and the effects are noisy and disturbing.
Up until then, the Pages had felt that the strange occurrences did not require police intervention. But a few days earlier, their son had become the victim of invisible forces. Barbara Page said that Peter was being hit by objects thrown by an invisible entity. He was also pushed out of his bed by inexplicable forces.
Okay, so weird things start happening here. This is, again, St. Catharines, the St. Catharines Poltergeist in Canada at 237 Church Street, right? So weird things start happening. They contact the cops. The cops are like, we don't know what we can do. You're seeing some weird shit. Sorry, we're cops. We're not the Ghostbusters. So then the things start getting really weird, and the objects are being thrown at the son inside their residence. So things become hairy. Things start to get real as this stuff really amps up. This poltergeist, this angry spirit, whatever you want to call it, this energy, whatever's happening is going on. It starts to become violent. It's throwing physical objects at the sun, and so then the interesting part about this why I took this clip, is you get actual real testimony from the police officer that was there at the time. So listen to this. There's only 4 parts to this, so this is part 2, and then we'll finish this up. This is, again, the St. Catharines Poltergeist. Strange goings on at 237 Church Street. Here's part 2 action.
Apparently, this was some kind of a poltergeist that was taking over this kid.
Generally, there is a child present, or more exactly, a pubescent or prepubescent boy or girl.
The whole thing seemed highly unlikely. But the Pages weren't the only ones to witness the manifestations. A Catholic priest, Father Stevens, who was present when Agent Crawford arrived, swore that he'd also seen several of the strange phenomena, including young Peter's bed being pushed to the center of the bedroom by a mysterious force. John and Barbara Page showed Agent Crawford around the apartment, pointing out the havoc caused by the invisible entity, including a hole in the wall and an overturned stool. As they stood in the hallway leading to the bedrooms, they heard a racket in the kitchen. The table had been moved and the chairs turned upside down. The Pages said that this was the kind of thing they had to put up with for several days. And it always seemed to happen when Peter was around.
We went there and we're standing in the doorway of the living room. And the mother's over here, and my partner, and sitting right across was a priest who looked like he had a white collar, and a nun. And the boy came in, he sat in this chair right beside me. And while I was talking to the mother, this chair just all of a sudden lifted in the air and threw this child across the room. But at the same time, I could see the priest go and the nun go. and you just feel a funny feeling come over you when you see this.
You see that? Now, this is a cop. This is an actual officer that they called to be there. There's a priest and a nun. this kid is supposedly under some sort of demonic presence, possessed or a poltergeist spirit. Something's happening here. And so they've called for help, and the help is there, and yet they can't do anything. The kid's sitting in this chair, and they're as the priest and the nun are kind of doing their thing, the chair picks up and just throws the kid across the room. And this, what we're hearing is from an eyewitness, a police officer that was freaking there and saw this with his own eyes. I mean, this is the type of stuff, right? You're like, I mean, he's laughing because it's so incredulous. It sounds so ridiculous. But he's like, you get a weird feeling when you see this type of thing. 2 more clips to finish this out. We're talking about the haunting of St. Catharines, the poltergeist there in Canada. So if you guys are familiar with that town, that's what this story is. 2 more clips, and let's finish this up. And we'll call it a successful poltergeist night. I don't think anybody got possessed. Part 3, St. Catharines poltergeist action.
At about 10 p.m. on February 7th, Agent Crawford returned to 237 Church Street. On the stairway, he ran into a woman who was visibly in a state of shock. She said that she'd just come from the Page's apartment, where she had seen a bed literally floating in the air. The police officer headed directly into Peter's bedroom. What he saw left him speechless. One end of the bed was raised 60 centimeters off the ground, without being supported by any type of object. Agent Crawford couldn't believe his eyes.
We have a wonderful case here of a documented haunting. What happened in that apartment is quite astonishing. We have the police record of this. And in addition to 3 or 4 police officers were a lawyer and a priest who had come there to perform an exorcism, and they witnessed such things as you might have seen in the movie The Exorcist.
In the days that followed, at least 5 other St. Catharines police officers witnessed strange events at 237 Church Street. All of the incidents seemed to involve young Peter.
Well, children are, I guess they're not as closed-minded as adults, and generally speaking, these days, the poltergeist phenomena has been more attributed to adolescents and not children, because they're going through such a change mentally and physically.
Young Peter had just gotten home from school when he was amazed to see a newspaper literally floating in the air. It remained suspended in midair for a few seconds, then flew full force into Peter's face.
And the parents were really getting upset and scared for the child, but the father, of course, didn't want anyone knowing the boy's name, because he would be ridiculed at school.
Same thing, right? So imagine this is you, and you have this newspaper floating, and it just hits you in the face. You've been in this chair with the priest and the nun and the cop. The chair lifts up and throws you out of the chair. You're being clearly toyed with by some sort of demonic force, let's say. At least a prankster type trickster spirit, at least. And so, and then on top of that, you tell people and they laugh at you, right? Can you imagine? I can't even. I would. Yeah, it's funny, not funny, right? That's just not funny. Okay, so the final part here of the way this story kind of comes to a close is this last clip, and we'll finish it up. Still looking for calls from you guys. If you want to tell a ghost story or whatever, we got some good stuff we'll read in chat here real quick to close it out. But if you want to be part of the show, still looking for your calls, 702-957-1037. Transparency is important. Click the Discord link. You can join the community that way and also join the show that way. Looking for somebody to hop on the caller queue and give us their story about ghosts and what you believe about all the rest of this stuff. And yeah, as we wind it down, let's finish this up. Last clip, talking about the haunting at St. Catherine. This young man is being agitated, picked on, bullied, even possessed by this spirit. And here's part 4. And again, the voice we're hearing is the police officer that was there and witnessed some of this shit. Full on saw beds levitating and chairs lifting off the ground, right? So... right? It's one thing when you hear me telling you somebody saw it. It's another thing when you hear somebody in their own words saying, no, I was there and this shit went down. Here we go. Last part, action.
Sensationalism set in. A headline spread across the local newspaper, The Standard, launched a real media circus. Dozens of reporters and experts came from all over the country and from abroad. and curious readers began phoning the authorities. Everyone wanted to know more about these inexplicable phenomena.
But anyway, they called all kinds of environmental people, everything. They tested the ground. They did everything to try and find an answer for what was going on.
No one knows what causes these outbreaks, if indeed they do occur. We have records of them occurring. There are even videotapes and films of these manifestations taking place under rare occasions. The occasions are spontaneous, unrehearsed, and sporadic. They're not reproducible in a laboratory.
For the Pages, the situation was becoming unbearable. Although the media were keeping their names anonymous, the neighborhood knew what was going on, and the young boy's schoolmates were making fun of him. It had gone on too long. Towards the end of the month, the Pages left St. Catharines and went to stay with relatives in Montreal. During their stay in Montreal, they didn't notice anything unusual, whether Peter was around or not. When they returned to their apartment on Church Street, everything seemed to be back to normal. The strange occurrences that had poisoned their lives for weeks on end finally seemed to have ceased once and for all. The Pages did not report any further unusual incidents.
I've been involved in a lot of cases in my life, but never anything like that since or before.
There you go. And there's the police officer that was there. He saw this shit happen in his own words, and he at the end says, I've never seen anything like that since or before. Like craziness, things lifting up off the ground, levitating, throwing this boy across the room, beds floating in the air, right? Stuff you see in like horror movies. This guy saw with his own eyes. Crazy stuff. So notably, here's the weird part about this too. So they leave, and then when they come back, everything's cool. Like everything's chilled out. No problems, right? So it's almost like it was a particular time, maybe a time in the boy's life that he drew these things to him and was able to shake it. Who knows, right? Like this is kind of again, these stories, right? Like how much I think I give a lot more credence to an eyewitness, like somebody like a police officer, like this individual, right? That was there and saw this shit happen, and he's still like years later, he's laughing about it. Like it's unbelievable. Like, I can't believe I was there. I can't believe I saw this, but this shit went down, So anyway, this particular property, so this is from mysteriousuniverse.org, which is a fantastic podcast. Listen to them, after you listen to us. A commercial building in St. Catharines, Ontario, Canada. Seems like a great investment as it has 6 residential units and a commercial storefront for sale for just under $700,000. Unfortunately, the property located at 237 Church Street made headlines all across North America back in 1970 when a terrifying encounter with a poltergeist traumatized several members of the community. So there you go. What's up, Grumpy? Thank you for hanging out. Kate, good night. Everybody, thanks for being here. I know it's a long show. Should we trim these shorter since we're cut out the news? We used to do a whole lot of news. Should we make it shorter? You guys tell me. Type in the chat if you want to make these like maybe down to 2 hours or something. We can do that. I'm like the Energizer Bunny. I will just go. Like we could go 2 more hours because I'm a beast. That's just the way it is. But I don't want to bore you guys to tears. I think that's the thing. So you let me know if I'm always open to suggestions here on the shows. So if you think this is a little bit too long talking about the same topic or whatever, you let me know how you want to do it, and we'll do it. Just let me know. Don't make it shorter. You guys let me know. You guys let me know what you want. Type in the chat, yes or no. I'll keep asking the question because I just feel like at some point, I don't know, not that I get bored doing it. I think I could have picked out. Look, I have more. I literally could go for 2 more hours. I'm not shitting you. So there's a ton more here. It's not like we're running out of material or my energy. It's not that. I just feel like after a certain amount of time, you end up kind of losing people, But that's okay. People come and go, so it's okay. Don't worry. I'm not threatening to cut anything out. Make it longer. Says Derek. Make it longer. All right. Everybody chill. Okay, so this is the deal. If you want this, it's for sale, $700,000, and this was back in August of 2020. So if you want this particular property, I'm kind of curious. I kind of want to go see these properties, right? And maybe one day I'll be able. I don't know. Like I don't know if I'm that brave, to be perfectly honest. Like sitting here in my cozy home, I'm like, yeah, I want to go see these places. I don't know if I want to actually go there. If I'm being honest now. Okay, anyway. So anyway, at the end of this, we continue to do this. Well, we haven't lost jack shit, guys. We've gained a ton. If you guys like the news cycles, go over to see the news show on Twitch. We're talking about all kinds of stuff over there. Talking about all kinds of stuff over here. The podcast world is growing. It's burgeoning with fantastic information because we are just filling it. We are filling that space. We're going to take over the world. You'll see one of these days, and just keep keeping on. Thank you all for hanging out. Thanks for being here. I know, like I said, I always say it's a long show, and I know it is. It really, really, really is. You think about sitting in one spot for 3 hours watching a movie. If it's not super compelling, I just want to get up and go do something else. You know what I mean? So that's kind of my fear, right? It's not that I'm worried about, I could talk to myself in the corner for an hour or for many hours, but I fear that it's people get restless and just want to take off. That's all I fear. It's a little bit too long talking about the same thing. So anyway, you guys let me know. I'm not threatening to take anything away. We're still doing it. Energizer Bunny, we got this. No problems. But we're at the end. At least for tonight. Like I said on the other show now, it's becoming a thing. The bad news is we're done for tonight. The good news is, God willing, we'll be back tomorrow at the news show, 4 p.m. Pacific. See us on Twitch. All the links are there on troubleblinds.org, and you'll be surprised. There's a lot of the news that you can kind of pick out and see the conspiracy in the news, and really, there's a ton of it. So we used to have a news portion on this show, and it just became too much to talk about. We couldn't cover all of it because it was so much. So now I always threatened, you watch, guys, there's 5 days a week worth of this shit. Guess what? We're doing it 5 days a week, Sunday through Thursday, Twitch, 4 p.m. Pacific. Come join us over there. We do it live just like this. Talk about conspiracy news and just kick it, and that's what we do. Chill stream, just like tonight, talking about evil spirits. Chill stream. Thanks for hanging out. You guys are the best. You guys are the best. You guys are the best. Okay, let's see. What do we got? Have you seen the Jamaican boy being pulled by a ghost? No, I have not. If you guys want to send those links to me, cool. The problem is, if you place some of those links on a stream, they're licensed by different companies, and they'll smack you with a copyright strike and stuff. So there's a lot of that stuff we unfortunately cannot play on stream. But what you can do is send it to me, and then I'll pass it out and send it to everybody else, so we can do it that way. So if you want to do that, we can do that. Just let me know. I'll watch it offline and then talk about it and then send it out. So anyway, you guys are the best. Thanks for being here. Let's play some outro music. What are we going to play? Let's play. How about this one? Let's pep it up with this. Okay. That's when we finish. Laughing at myself. You're listening to Troubled Minds Radio. I'm your host, Michael Strange. Thanks again for all the enthusiasm, guys. Thanks for being here. Thanks for the support. Thanks for all the amazing calls tonight. Thanks for all the amazing chat. Thanks for all the support over on the other channel. Thanks for all the things. Please spread the word if you want to help us out. If you want to help us out, there's a new podcast. It's right there on the main page of troubledminds.org. It has 0 reviews. 0. Nothing yet because it's brand new. If you want to help us out with this one, leave us a review on iTunes. If you want to help us out with the other one, same thing. A few seconds of your time, really painless, and it will help us a lot go places. So please do that. Thanks a lot. You guys are the best. Thank you, the UK crew, for staying up late with me. I know it's not the easiest thing. I appreciate that a lot. You stayed up late for me, and my heart is touched. Thank you so much for hanging out. All of you, you're amazing. The bad news is we're done. The good news is, God willing, we'll be back tomorrow. 4 p.m. Pacific, Twitch. Find the link at troubleminds.org. We'll be talking conspiracy news. And tomorrow is Weird Wednesday even, so you get weird conspiracy news. That's right. Thanks, Penny. Appreciate it a lot. Thanks, Grumpy. Thanks, everybody. Thanks, Tamron. Thanks for showing up. Thanks, everybody else, for being here. Larry in the chat. You guys are the best. Have a great night. Actually, I guess I jumped the gun. You're listening to Troubled Minds Radio. I'm your host, Michael Strange. Thank you for listening. And from our Troubled Minds to yours, have a great night.